talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 1 minute past 10, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Even Harry Redknapp was shocked to hear the Levy news.
I thought Daniel would be there forever, to be honest, Al. It was when someone texted me, I thought, no, they're having a wind-up. It can't be possible. Daniel, that is his life, really, running the football club.
Levy stepped away as Spurs chairman after nearly 25 years. Matterface Crook and Deeney will give their lowdown in the show coming up. We understand the move was driven by owners the Lewis family. Redknapp wonders if Levy has just had enough.
I've heard rumours that there's a takeover in the offing. Maybe we might end up with another Saudi ownership of that club. It wouldn't surprise me.
Levy would stand to profit from any potential sale. He still owns 28% of shares. Spurs say there'll be no changes to the hierarchy. Board member Peter Charrington is now non-executive chairman. Elsewhere this morning, Alessia Russo signed a new long-term contract with Arsenal. Russo scored 36 in 72 for the Gunners. The WSL season kicks off tonight live on talkSPORT with champions Chelsea hosting Man City. Now, Wolves say Sasha Kalajdzic is joining Austrian side Lask on a season-long loan. The latest person to have a moan about PSR rules is Ezri Konsa. He says the financial restrictions have killed Aston Villa in this window. Lionel Messi is refusing to confirm whether he'll play in next summer's World Cup. Now 38, Messi scored twice in Argentina's final qualifier. The win over Venezuela was his last competitive fixture on home soil. And Mike Tyson has sensationally confirmed his exhibition fight with Floyd Mayweather. Tyson says he can't believe Floyd wants to do this, but boxing has entered a new era of the unpredictable. More on this madness at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Labour frontbenchers continue to defend Angela Rayner as the party awaits the outcome of a report into her tax affairs, and thousands in England are missing out on the weight loss jab Manjaro due to NHS funding gaps. More from the news team in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Buy 2 or more Bridgestone Turanza all-season 6 tyres and claim Bridgestone's massive 20,000 mileage guarantee. Visit quickfit.com and book today. Conditions apply.
Drier today, apart from the odd light shower. Sunny spells for most of us, cloudy and breezy across the northwest, but feeling much warmer.
Hello, very good morning to you. It's Sam Matterface, Troy Deeney and Alex Crook, and we are here live on talkSPORT this morning. So the Premier League's longest-serving chairman is gone after Daniel Levy stepped down from his post after almost 25 years. How should fans reflect on his tenure at the club? Did he raise ambitions or thwart them? Meanwhile, with England back in World Cup qualifying action tomorrow, how much pressure is on Thomas Tuchel to deliver entertainment in his next 2 fixtures? And also today, is João Pedro a Ballon d'Or winner in the waiting? Mike Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather, sport or circus? And we'll be joined in the studio by London City Lionesses CEO Martin Semmens joins us a little bit later on. The WSL season kicks off later on tonight. This is Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney, and we're live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
Morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. It is Friday. It's Matterface, Crook and Deeney. Welcome along. Troy rang me yesterday to get a bit of technical advice, didn't you?
Yeah, a little bit of advice on the old earpieces.
Yeah.
Some of us have them in, some of us still don't.
I think
this cable is broken and that has nothing to do with me.
I think as
malfunctioned.
As my wife told me this week after Crook had come and stayed with us for 2 weeks, nothing is ever Alex Crook's fault. Doesn't matter what it is.
It's a good rule for life. Very good rule for life.
I'm like, yeah, I know. But if you would like the same technical advice, I can help you. You know I look after you.
Well, the difference is he gets this for free. I'd have to dig into my pocket.
Yeah.
Dr. Freebie over here.
Oh, I will get a freebie where I can. But what I will say is, when you're phoning around producers and say, like, they're going to help you, surely get the moulds, and Joe didn't pick up, and then Maya got back to me 4 hours later. You phone Big Sam, FA Sam, he answers straight away and he's telling you, it's the 3.5mm, get that one, do this. Oh, the guy was buzzing to hear Sam's voice.
And he was dressed as a cowboy at the time, is that
At that point, he was dressed as a cowboy, but thankfully I wasn't anywhere near.
I'm pleased to see that this is kicking on. Yeah, listen, I said to you, I was getting ready. I was excited about it, as you know.
You was a little bit excited. Do you want to tell everyone why you was excited?
I was just getting dressed up. It was fun. But I did it. I went proper jeans, belt buckle, shirt tucked in, jeans tucked into the cowboy boots. Now, I thought everybody would be dressed like that.
They weren't.
Hey, maybe.
It's not natural now, mate.
Oh, dear. Anyway, good to see you both. Lovely to see you. Daniel Levy has stepped down as Tottenham chairman after nearly 25 years, triggering significant debate over his legacy and what happens next. The ownership, ENIC, claims that it's not up for sale, but wants to prioritise sporting success and therefore has overhauled Tottenham's leadership structure with a new executive and board structures, ushering in a new era. Is that entirely true? Everyone's talking about the possibility of a sale. So was he pushed, and is this about repositioning Spurs before they're sold?
It feels very much like he was pushed. Even the brief information we are getting out of the Lewis family, because Tottenham's PR department haven't been particularly talkative about this. They're suggesting that this is the latest in a change of infrastructure, in their words, to bring greater sporting success. I'm not completely sold on that. I don't really understand why after 20-odd years they would suddenly decide that Daniel Levy isn't the man to deliver sporting success. This, for me, carries all the hallmarks of being a precursor to a potential takeover. There's been a lot of talk that I've picked up in the last few weeks about investment from the Middle East anyway. So I would imagine that Peter Charrington coming in as non-executive chairman, he's very much an ENIC man anyway, is just there to steady the ship and to see what opportunities there are on the open market.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting that they've had quite a lot of leadership change over the course of the last few months, isn't it? With Vinay Venkatesham coming in as the CEO and Thomas Frank coming in as the new boss. They've changed a few other things behind the scenes. Remember, Scott Munn, who was there as well, left as director of football operations. Donna Cullen is no longer involved in the organisation either. These are long-term servants, or certainly Daniel and Donna have been around for a very long time. Do you think that this CEO, Vinay Venkatesham coming in and Thomas Frank coming in, was a Levy decision, or was it a decision that was taken out of his hands earlier in the review period?
Possibly. I think when you look at it, it's a shame, isn't it? It's a sad time for Spurs. 25 years is a long time, and the change and transformation from when Daniel Levy came in to where it is now. His legacy will be the stadium. His legacy will be the training ground, and also the European Cup they won last year. So, is it a time for them to move? Possibly move on. But if there is investment and an understanding of where they want to go different ways, I think we should celebrate it a little bit more. I think, 25 years in football is an awful long time, and we don't get that enough, I don't think, and we don't celebrate it. Daniel Levy's come under an awful lot of pressure over the years from Spurs fans, and rightly so in some areas, but 25 years, brand new stadium, brand new training ground. They won a European competition. Let's give him a bit of credit.
And I think that's something that was one of the reasons behind him being moved on, from what I understand, is that there was a lot of fan pressure and a lot of fan discomfort and disenfranchisement about Tottenham under Daniel Levy. You heard the chants regularly over the course of the last year. Maybe that is a reaction to what's happened in the here and now, but like you said, there is a legacy there as well. And under Levy, Spurs have evolved into what is a financially robust club. They built a world-class stadium. They've got a training complex, which everybody sort of holds up as one of the best in the country. They've grown a bit more of a status, really, because they've been playing a lot more Champions League football than they ever did before he arrived, and delivered 2 trophies. It is only 2 trophies in 25 years, and that is, I suppose, the stick that people will beat him with. The fact also that they seem to spend a lot of money on transfer fees, but never quite the top level amount on wages.
But is that a Daniel Levy decision, or is that an ENIC decision? Because the fact they've just put one of their own people in as non-executive chairman, is much going to change? Daniel Levy's just overseen a summer transfer window. If they were that unhappy with the way that he was running the football club, they'd have made this decision at the end of last season after winning that Europa League final in Bilbao, and they'd have gone bigger in the transfer market. Tottenham's record signing is still Dominic Solanke for £65 million. That isn't enough to compete with Manchester United and Chelsea and Liverpool and Arsenal and Manchester
And that's
City.
what gives you the indication that they're basically just redressing the window before they sell it.
Yeah. I think that's the outcome. As I say, Tottenham sources will push back on that, but there's no smoke without fire in this case, and you speak to people well connected in the industry and they believe that some kind of takeover, be it partial or maybe even a full takeover down the line, is certainly in the offing. And for Tottenham fans, and they're going to ring up today, they're going to bemoan the lack of silverware under Daniel Levy. I hope they'll address the issues you have. The stadium is the best in the Premier League, one of the best in Europe. The training ground you've mentioned. Kieran Maguire had a stat, and he's coming on later, I believe. When Daniel Levy came into Tottenham, their annual turnover was £48 million. They have an annual turnover worth 10 times that now, and they are just about the best-run club in the Premier League because Daniel Levy has kept transfer fees and wages in particular at a reasonable level. Now, again, he was only the chairman. Yes, he's got shares in ENIC, but ultimately it's the owners who decide what the budget is going to be. So I do wonder if there might be a little bit of a case down the line of be careful what you wish for.
It's a great club to buy, though, isn't it?
Oh.
If you're an investor. You know, like
Daniel Levy.
Yeah, when you're looking at like Man United, for example, there's a lot of debt, there's a lot of issues around it. If you're going to come in now and buy Spurs, brand new stadium, brand new training ground, teams are relatively solid, competitive, it's more how much you want to invest on the top of that. So I just think he's put them in a great position.
How much credit does Daniel Levy deserve after being pushed out of Tottenham? Is it in a better place than he found it? Almost undoubtedly, really. He also will be remembered for the stadium legacy and that of the training ground. But with his emphasis on financial stability, has it come at a cost of silverware? 03717 2233 44 81089 on the text says criticism of Daniel Levy been unfair. Tottenham fans, what's your reaction to that? I bet there's a few supporters of other clubs as well who look at Tottenham Hotspur and say, I don't think your chairman's all that bad. This is talkSPORT. It's talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. And we're talking Daniel Levy. Do his achievements in infrastructure and the global profile of Tottenham Hotspur outweigh the lack of major trophies and perceived sporting stagnation? Is fan criticism fair? And is the board's current direction, the change by ousting Levy, likely to deliver real football progress? Or does it risk a bit of instability and the potential for an unwanted takeover or investment? Or maybe that's exactly what they do want. Maybe they're getting it ripe for a sale. Tottenham fans, how are you feeling about all that this morning? 03717 2233 44. That's the number to call. This is how Daniel Levy sort of viewed the criticism that he got when he spoke to the Cambridge Union last year.
I'm not sure what an average Spurs fan is, but I'd hope they would perceive that I'm always acting in the best interest of the club. I've given a large proportion of my working life to the club, and I think the club today, hopefully they will perceive it to be in a better place than when I first got involved.
Some people suggested that he had to operate with one hand tied behind his back during his tenure, and he had to diversify the revenue streams as a result. He came out with the line last year, I think you probably remember this, that Spurs had to spend, but spend smart and be sustainable. He's been sort of described by insiders as ruthless, but quiet and hard-working, and with a genuine passion for the club. You nearly went to Spurs, didn't you?
Yeah, a while ago when Mourinho was there, yeah.
Did you ever have conversations with Daniel, or did you ever have...
No, I've met Daniel a few times, obviously, at games and stuff, and just had chats with him and saw him at the NFL the last couple of years. So, yeah, he's always been very pleasant. Doesn't seem that like outgoing person. Very keeps himself to himself. But
Doesn't do a lot of media, does he?
But he'd be pleasant enough to speak to, and, you know, last guy missing the kids are, that type of stuff. So, yeah, always had nothing but respect for how Spurs have ran. I think... Again, we've had this conversation about 50 times over the last year. Like, what are Spurs? What are we expecting? Because I don't expect them to win the league. Do you?
No.
So, like, what?
Well, that's got to be the ambition eventually, right? Okay, if you're building
not if you only
club,
spend 65 million quid as your record signing.
No, absolutely, but that has got to be the ambition of every club is to eventually get to that zone. So, are they being held back by the fact that they're not spending enough money? Is that the general sentiment then?
That would be the general sentiment, but again, when you look at top six, I'd probably put them as the sixth biggest club in the country if you did the traditional top six. The biggest one being Man United. If you looked at the positions now of where both clubs are, you much prefer to be Spurs. In that solid ground, all the stuff we spoke about before, solid ownership, solid ground, solid trading ground, playing squad's decent, good manager. You know where you're going. Are they going to tip the balance over by going and spending that extra?
Is it an opportunity for someone to kick it on to the next level?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say, if Sir Jim Ratcliffe came into Manchester United and inherited whoever the next owner of Tottenham does, then they'd be in a brilliant position to kick on and challenge for the Premier League title, because the stadium is there, the training ground is there, the finances are there in terms of being well run to have a real go. I'd love to fast forward to next summer's transfer window if the Lewis family are still owners, if Enoch still run the football club, and see if next summer's transfer window is any different to this one. My prediction is it won't be.
But okay. If they were in charge and their plan is to try and sort of almost fatten it up for a sale, make it even more successful so it's therefore attractive, they could spend a couple of £100 million over the next year or so.
Why didn't they do it in this transfer window? If they were going to get rid of Daniel Levy, why not do it before the transfer window starts and then they have control over spending?
Well, they could still have control over spending now, couldn't they? They could have a different route. They could just turn around to Daniel Levy and say, you know, we're moving on and whatever. But the fact is, if they do end up making it more successful, it can become more attractive to an investor or someone who's going to buy it, because it might be more successful on the pitch and therefore more an attractive trinket, and they might make even more money. How much is it going to be worth? Because if Chelsea's worth, what, 2 billion quid? Spurs, with that stadium, that training ground,
it's got to be in there, isn't it?
It's got to be 3 million, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 billion.
3 billion?
Yeah. You would argue it would be that. Again, There's not much to do other than to add, is there? So it's like add to the playing squad. The training ground's fine. The stadium's fine. The manager's fine. Like, it's just added to the playing squad. So for me, it's a real attractive one. I wonder what Spurs fans think now, because do you look back and go, that was a good 25 years, very successful, or are you very short term and think, oh, we wish we'd have kicked on and done a bit more? Does the Pochettino stuff still ring true? that was a moment, wasn't it?
For me, and I keep coming back to this. I mentioned it on Drive last night when the news broke. That was the sliding doors moment. That was the opportunity when Daniel Levy and ENIC had the chance to say, look, we just got to a Champions League final. We've been done by a dodgy handball decision. This manager has worked wonders. Let's back him.
Yeah.
They didn't sign a single player that summer, and then they fired him a few months later. And you go back to Jose Mourinho. I think that has to be remembered as part of Daniel Levy's legacy, to fire a manager days before you're due to play a League Cup final at Wembley.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre, quite frankly.
I'm sure it's just a vehicle for running Tottenham, isn't it? Which is owned by Joe Lewis, ENIC. It's not like it is a separate company, but it's just a vehicle that they use in order to use the Tavistock Group. That's a separate entity which is owned by the Lewis family. So ENIC is basically Tottenham, isn't it? I mean, that is what it is. So it's not like a separate company, really. So John Charrington, who's just come in, Peter Charrington, who's just come in from ENIC, is already part of the Tottenham setup. It's not a new thing.
And that's what tells me nothing in the short term is really going to change.
Let's speak to Andrew and David, are Tottenham fans. They join us on the phone now. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
Yes, very good, thank you. What do you want to say?
Right. Daniel Levy is the best thing that happened to Tottenham Football Club. We're very fortunate. Very fortunate. If you look at the back of the ticket, it gives you permission to go in the ground. When Scholar had finished with the club, it was wretched. He is a great man, and the greatest indictment of that is that when that Arsenal boxer goes out and plays the Arsenal theme at Spurs, he does that because Arsenal have a one-dimensional stadium. Tottenham have a multi-purpose stadium and a future. We are very fortunate to have him, and he's so good, and he's gone so quietly that he knows what the next step is. And it will be moving the club on to someone else.
Okay, Andrew, thank you. Thank you very much for getting in touch with us, Andrew. Appreciate that. David, very quickly, what do you want to say?
Oh, that bloke's talking nonsense.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I was thinking that some people would ring up and get really irate about Daniel Levy, and the first person that comes through actually is thanking him. And I can understand that too, because if you've got an eye for business and you think about financial prudence, Kieran Maguire, the football finance expert, calls Tottenham the most profitable club in Premier League history. But is that enough for you?
I think you've got to split Levy's tenure into bits. So obviously when he took over, we were in the mud. He obviously made us into a much more bigger, sustainable club. But then, like Alex Crook was saying, he had an opportunity with Pochettino in that Champions League final to really push on, and he didn't. And then ever since then, his tenure has steadily got worse and worse and worse. Not invested in the team, not invested in players that managers want. And from there, we've just fallen behind. And I'm hoping that either ENIC are going to do what they say they are, which sounds like they're going to invest more in the team and concentrate more on the sporting side. But if not, and we're preparing for a sale, obviously whoever comes in has the ground already, has the training ground already. The only thing they need to do is invest in the team. It's as simple as that.
David, just on that though, you've just said that you're hoping that ENIC come in now and do that. Was ENIC not there already? Do you think Daniel Levy had just sole control and did whatever he wants, spent whatever he wanted?
No, I don't. And I'm not stupid enough to think it's all on Daniel Levy. Like, I'm very aware. But, he was fun. I think it's negotiated. Like, we couldn't buy players off certain teams because other chairmen, from what you read, don't want to deal with him because of his penny pinching, his changing of deals at the last minute. I think we've only got to look to Eze a few weeks ago, him and Steve Parish going back and forth all the time. But from what we've been hearing from like Tottenham journalists and people on there, they're saying one of the reasons that there's been a change is they want to see more success in the sporting side. And personally, I don't think if that's the case, I don't think Daniel Levy's your man to lead that.
But David, isn't that what the ENIC group are saying in order to justify why they moved him out? Because ultimately, what they want to do is clear the path for a sale. It's an easy thing. It's a PR win to do, isn't it? We want more sporting success. If you wanted it that bad, you would have done it 10 years ago, wouldn't you?
Again, I agree. But if it's like you got to prove it now. You're saying all this. Either two things are going to happen. It gets to January, we put 80 million down on Savinio or something, or we get to next summer and ENIC's all of a sudden 65 million on Solanke looks like pennies. We're going in for, I don't know, Morgan Rogers at 90 million, whatever, and they put the money in and they get the players that they want. Or, like Alex Crook said, we might end up being sold. And then it's like, we got to do that as quickly as possible because we don't want to get to next summer waiting to be sold and still not investing in the squad because Thomas Frank has started life at Spurs, I think, really well.
Okay, but it's only 3 or 4 games in, so we'll have to see what happens. David, thank you. We've got to get Lee in before the break. Hello, Lee.
Morning, lads. I think it's the right time for Levy to move on, but online last night when it broke, I was astounded by the comments about him. Ding dong, the witch is dead, and all the constant slagging of him. I mean, like your caller said earlier, when he took over, we'd just been kicked out of the under Scholar, we've been kicked out of the FA Cup, deducted 12 points. We know about Levy's coming in. We've got the training ground, the fantastic stadium, but also what people annoys me is Daniel Levy has been competing with Roman Abramovich, Manchester City, who, arguably broken financial fair play rules or that they weren't in existence at the time. Man City obviously got all those charges hanging over them. Yeah, Levy was competing against those really, and those saying that, he should have spent money, he didn't invest enough in the team. Look at Leeds United under Peter Ridsdale. They spent money they didn't have, then spent 30 years in the wilderness.
There's no doubt that there are cautionary tales, isn't there? And he has protected them from that. And there will be some that say that his emphasis on financial stability has sort of come at the cost of being competitive. But he's right, isn't he, Troy? There were other factors. Over the course of his tenure, there was the growth of Chelsea. Almost immediately that he walked in the door, Roman Abramovich turned up and changed the game. Mm-hmm. And then Manchester City and even Newcastle latterly. The way that football is run in this country has changed exponentially over the last 25 years.
Well, 100%. I wanted to ask the caller before, I think it was Lee. Everyone keeps saying, I want to see what the spend is like next summer. January's coming up. Are we not expecting them to spend in January? Do you know what I mean? Like, if there's going to be a wholesale change, then why would that not happen straight away?
Historically, it's harder, isn't it, to sign players in January? But I take your point.
If it's about sporting success and Spurs are in a good position, then you've got to go and crack on because Man United will, Liverpool will. People will do business.
The other thing, I can understand, everybody wants their football team to win trophies, okay? Yeah. But you mentioned there 2 trophies in 24 years, just over 24 years.
Yep.
They've won 2 league titles in their history, Tottenham. Their last one was 1961. They won the FA Cup every 10 years, on average, from the sort of early 80s to the early 90s. So this is not a club in their history who've won a lot of silverware.
Yeah, but nor had Chelsea. They hadn't won a title since 1955.
Look at the money that's been ploughed into Chelsea.
That's the point.
To Spurs.
It doesn't mean you can't change your destination by adding extra cash into the coffers. Right, we'll get back to that in just a second because Kieran Maguire's going to join us in the next few minutes here on talkSPORT.
Over the last few years, Formula One has gone from elitist and insular to a global entertainment brand. The transformation's down to American investment group Liberty Media, who cultivated a new image for the sport since buying it in 2016. Better access to drivers, improved content on social media, and tapping into the US market have given F1 a massive boost in both attention and revenues. But is everyone happy? The fans certainly are, as evidenced by Drive to Survive. Almost 7 million people per season have tuned in to get all the gossip and all the drama from the paddock. The extra exposure means the drivers can demand a higher salary too. In 2010, the top drivers were earning $20 million a year, which isn't bad. But now, the very best earn 3 times that, with Max Verstappen getting a whopping $65 million in 2025. But money doesn't always buy happiness. Some drivers, including Verstappen, don't like the pageantry the changes have brought about. In Las Vegas in 2023, Verstappen said the drivers were made to look like clowns, and the event was 99% performance and 1% race. Some purists who still watch the sport feel the same, and that the spirit of competition has suffered. But Formula One and Liberty Media don't look like slowing down anytime soon. So expect more races, major events and exclusive access in future.
It's talkSPORT. It's Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. And actually, Crook's been very generous to Daniel Levy today. So he's taken off the Saltmaster cap. I think. Didn't even bring it with him today.
I just think there's two sides to every story. Daniel Levy isn't the best owner in the history of football, but he's by no means the worst. Sorry, chairman, not owner, chairman.
Yeah, well, he does own 28% of it. That's quite a significant amount. He certainly owns more of Tottenham Hotspur than Steve Parish owns of Crystal Palace. But both of them got themselves into a position, I think because they're very good negotiators and very shrewd political animals, that they actually control a lot of the running of those two clubs, despite not being the majority shareholder. Right, let's speak to Kieran Maguire, who is a football finance expert, once described Tottenham as the most profitable club in Premier League history, and a good friend of the programme as well. Hello, Kieran.
Hi, Sam.
Thank you very much for coming on. Look, he does divide opinion, doesn't he? And I do understand Tottenham fans of both persuasions coming out and getting a little bit defensive and offensive as the stories about Daniel come out. But is there an argument here that rather than sort of framing him as a too cautious an owner, the rest of the Premier League could learn a thing or two about running a top-flight football club?
Well, that's right. We have these profitability and sustainability rules, but Spurs is the only club which has consistently made profits during the tenure of the Premier League. And I appreciate none of us fall in love with football for balance sheets. But in terms of creating the modern Spurs that we have today, with a future-proof stadium, with a multi-function stadium, I think he has set a standard which others should envy. And it has allowed Spurs, if you look at where Spurs were when he first became involved in 2001, it was generating around about a third of the revenue of Manchester United. Now, that gap has been narrowed considerably. The footballing decisions are outside of my realm, the quality of the players. And could he have been perhaps a little less cautious when it has come to investment at times? I think there is a footballing argument to be had. But from a business point of view, you can only give him 5 stars in terms of the way that he's conducted himself and that he has built Spurs, the way that he has transformed the stadium into this multi-function, multi-date, multi-activity stadium is amazing.
How much is it worth as a club now compared to what it was when ENIC took over?
Today, I'm probably looking around about £3 to £3.5 billion, whereas when he acquired, it was in the tens of millions. So a fantastic gain in terms of the value of the club. I mean, Chelsea went for 140 million in 2003. Daniel joined in 2001. I'd say Spurs was a smaller club or an equal club to Chelsea at the time. So they might have got 100 million for it in 2001. I think they would be looking at around about 3 to £3.5 billion today. So again, from an investment point of view, I understand why some Spurs are unhappy. They don't see it as an investment; they see it as a love affair. It's been spectacular.
Kieran, where do you see the future of Tottenham? Because obviously in the statement announcing Daniel Levy's departure, they made a point of saying there are no changes to the ownership or shareholder structure of the club. Sources close to the Lewis family suggesting they're not looking to sell the club. That contradicts a little bit some of the whispers that I'm hearing. You obviously keep your ear to the ground. Where do you see Tottenham heading from here?
Well, first of all, I think we've got to look at Daniel's own investment in Spurs, which was 28%. If he's not going to be involved in the day-to-day running of the club, why continue to own those shares? So he might choose to divest himself. I'm the same as you, Alex. I mean, I'm fully aware that Spurs has got so many saleable points. It's in London. You don't have to spend money on the infrastructure because the stadium's there. The training facilities are magnificent. It's an incredibly attractive proposition to both American investors and Middle Eastern investors because it's easy to get to from a transport point of view. It's got history and heritage. There is the opportunity to transform it. It's in a relatively strong position from a PSR perspective. So therefore, you're not constantly looking over your shoulder in terms of what can I buy and what can't I buy. It's certainly the biggest club in town as far as potential investors are concerned. And then it comes down to the Lewis family and what their long-term objectives are.
No, I've heard all this with Kieran before. So Kieran actually was teaching me in the Alan May diploma, wasn't you, earlier this year? So we've heard all this, Kieran. So I was just listening again. Sorry, buddy.
Is it right then, because of what you say, for an American owner to swoop in and try and take Tottenham because of the NFL geared facilities that they've got? And how would Tottenham fans, do you think, feel about that?
I think Tottenham fans would welcome anybody who is going to come in and say the right things. I think there was a testy relationship, I think, between Daniel and the fan base, because while Spurs has been spectacularly successful, Spurs fans have had to bear the brunt of that. It's a horrible word to use, but the yield, which is the average cost per fan per match at Spurs, is far higher than many of the other clubs in the Premier League. I think only Chelsea are fairly close. Now, that is a function of London. It is a function of it being a new stadium. It is a function that the prawn sandwich brigade are making a big contribution to that. But certainly sort of the rank and file Spurs fans, since the move to the new stadium, have had to go and pay premium prices, and they expect a premium return on that. And I think they feel that perhaps that's not yet been delivered. American investors are unlikely to change that. I mean, American investors think that our ticket prices are far too cheap. So I think it would be a sensitive topic to deal with.
Interesting, isn't it? Because currently, if you factor in Silver Lake's 18% share, which is a private equity firm in Manchester City, I worked out this morning that 12 of the 20 Premier League clubs have significant American investment, and 10 of the 14 Championship clubs as well. What does that tell us about the sort of proposition of the Premier League and where it is on the scale of attractive investments?
I think it says that the Premier League is a global product which investors like, and B is very, very cheap compared to American franchise sports, because if you wanted to set up in MLS, you'd have to go and pay a franchise fee. That would probably cost you in $250-300 million, and that's before you build the stadium, that's before you put the squad together and so on, and it's not exported to 190 countries. I think we underestimate this side of the Atlantic, the huge popularity of Welcome to Wrexham. It has been transformative in terms of exciting American investors. The American economy has done spectacularly well compared to what we've seen in Europe as well. So there's an awful lot of investors and billionaires with loose change, and they want to replicate what they've seen elsewhere, and they do believe that there are opportunities, and they're things that we won't necessarily like as fans. It is certainly in terms of dynamic ticket pricing, matches taking place overseas as well, which will go against the culture and the history of fandom in the UK. But it is an attractive proposition to US investors.
Yeah, Kieran, I remember you saying this on the course that we did earlier in the year, where you were saying that for billionaires, this is like an exclusive club, isn't it? They can all have so many cars, so many yachts, but there's only 20 Premier League teams that you can own. So you become into this... Sorry, go on.
You're absolutely right. How do you own the room when you're in that cocktail party with all your billionaire mates? Because, as you rightly said, they've all got the yachts, they've all got the islands, they've all got the Manhattan apartments. You say, well, yeah, my football club's hosting Liverpool or Chelsea this weekend. Fancy coming along to the boardroom? The room goes silent, and you become the alpha male or the alpha female in the room.
Amazing, really, when you look at it like that. I mean, you've obviously pointed out the positives in terms of anyone looking to invest in Spurs. I guess Daniel Levy being there would have been perceived as a negative because of the toxicity that goes along with Levy from a vast majority, I would say, of match-going Tottenham fans. Do you think that may have put off an investor if Levy was still in situ?
I think that there was a concern among some investors that Daniel likes to micromanage everything. He wants involvement in terms of the day-to-day running of the club, and he's been handsomely rewarded for that, and presumably the Lewis family would go along with that because they're the people that ultimately appoint and agree the wages, but trying to muscle in, I think, has always been an issue, and I think it's indicative of, I think it's fair to say that it's been more of a push factor for him leaving rather than a pull factor to do something else. It looks as if the Lewis family have had a change of philosophy in terms of what they want from somebody running the club on a day-to-day basis. So him leaving could be seen as a shifting to a new era. And I guess from a Spurs fan's perspective, they might get excited. Is this going to involve a greater investment in the squad?
Well, that's the one key question, isn't it? Because they are prioritising sporting success according to their statement. So just a very quick prediction. Do you think Tottenham continue the sort of responsible growth model or take bigger risks in the transfer market from now on in?
I think it would be the latter, Sam. The only way that you can achieve success, it's a talent industry. You've got to spend the money. You've got to invest in the playing staff and the coaching staff. And you can't do that on a budget of being the constant fifth or sixth biggest investors in the Premier League.
03717 223344 if you want to react to that. That's Kieran Maguire, the football finance expert, joining us live. Thank you very much for coming on the programme this morning. Lots to get to between now and 1 o'clock. We'll continue to take your calls on this and all the other big stories of the morning. We'll talk about Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson at some point this morning as well. Troy's already shaking his head. Yeah. And we'll talk England and Dora, talking of mismatches. This is Talk Sport with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. It's talkSPORT, Sam Matterface and Alex Crook. And Troy Deeney is here as well. And so is Alex, who's a Tottenham fan. Hello.
Gentlemen, good morning to you.
A very good morning to you. Are you happy about Daniel Levy stepping down, or cautiously optimistic, or are you a little bit disappointed?
No, happy and cautious, because I was looking at the criteria and the credentials of this new person who's stepping in, and it seems like it's his twin brother when you really look at it. Everything seems to state that he is a director of this, an advisor of that, from a financial background, not a football man. And that's what's plagued our football club for decades. And when I was listening to some of the callers in yesterday during Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara's segment, I was absolutely, it was difficult to keep a straight face with some of the stuff they were coming up with about, because Levy is, as we know, an economics background. His strengths are commercial and not football driven. And I want to share a story really between two football clubs, Liverpool and Spurs. One, the former, Liverpool, are geared to win, driven to success, and the other, who have always flattered to deceive, my club, and who seem to have this ability to, snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, take a healthy position all the way to skid row, which is why we're pretty much mocked the way we are. A few years ago, you may recall, Liverpool finished second to Man City in the league. They finished runners-up in the Champions League final to Real Madrid. They actually even lost the Europa League final to Seville. And we know, any football fan would know, that Liverpool don't like losing. Their philosophy was spearheaded by football men who got together and identified areas on the pitch that we needed to get them over the line. They were knocking on the door. How do they get over the line? They identified the goalkeeper, defender, to improve the nucleus of the squad. And what happened? It paid dividends, did it not? Because that has been a springboard to the success they've enjoyed today. Yes, Liverpool have always been successful, but we see that success built on the fundamental delivery that they have actually, they rolled the dice and it's paid off. Now, we as Spurs had exactly that same situation occur. We finished second to Chelsea, you may recall, with 86 points one year, which 6 times out of 10 would be enough to win the league. It actually was more points than what Liverpool acquired last year. Then we finished second runners-up in the Champions League final to them, as we all know. The exact same circumstances. But did we use their approach, their winning mentality approach? No, they didn't. Levy and the board, they decided, and infamously, you may recall, with 2 transfer windows without signing anyone, that everything was there geared to take us over the line if they had rolled the dice and done exactly, used the Liverpool philosophy, and they didn't. They showed no statement of intent. And as a result of that, them and that board of nodding dogs, as I call them, who dare call themselves directors.
Okay, Alex, hold on a second. Let the boys come back in on this, because there was the argument at the time that Maurizio Pochettino had decided that he wasn't going to spend money as well.
Yeah, I'm not convinced.
Well, that's the way he would frame it.
I'm not sure that any manager decides not to spend money, but this sort of goes back to the argument that I made just before the last break. When you look at Spurs historically as a football club, they aren't comparable to Liverpool in terms of what they've won. And we've seen it with Arsenal. You won't like me saying this, Alex. The reason that Eberechi Eze went to Arsenal is not because they were willing to pay a higher transfer fee, because Spurs had agreed exactly the same transfer fee. It's not because of wages. It's because Arsenal are a bigger club than Tottenham. They win more trophies than Tottenham. So it's difficult to attract the top players if you're Tottenham.
And then into the argument Chelsea, who themselves once upon a time...
But they turned themselves into a big football club, Chelsea. Tottenham haven't done that. And is that Daniel Levy's fault, or is that Joe Lewis's?
No, it's both. I'll give you an example. Yes, Abramovich was the face, and he was funding the Chelsea sort of empire to create the superpower that they've become, this winning machine. But he recruited the best executives from other clubs, football men, people who had a proven track record to create this level of competence and philosophy that you see at the club now. You've got executives from Man U under the Ferguson.
Alex, can I just dive in there quickly? Because you keep referencing a football man. So you saw Man United do that with Dan Ashworth, and that didn't work out. So how do you know if you got a football person in there that it would change?
Because a football person will identify what the club needs. They're not geared to the commercial aspects of the club like Levy is. I mean, if you look at Levy, for example, everyone says, "Oh, he bought the stadium and the training facilities, and that's going to be his legacy." Well, hang on a minute. When you create structures like that, they become fixed assets. Who does this really benefit? Because Spurs have the second highest season ticket prices in world football. Only PSG carry a higher premium. Do we see a dividend of that? No, we're the ones who's paying the cost for that redevelopment. And who was the one who benefited the most? Is it not Levy himself? When Spurs, prior to the stadium development, Spurs had a £1 billion net worth estimation, of which Levy carried the 30% share value of that. Since the redevelopment, that's gone up to an estimated 3.5 to 4 billion, and therefore his share value has exceeded 1 billion. So you could ask the question, if you want to put a spin on this, who has actually benefited the most?
That's the nature of business, right? Isn't it? You do sort of invest to be able to get a greater return on your original investment. Thank you very much, Alex. Appreciate your call, and I understand your frustrations. We've got John and Kate to get through very quickly. John, quickly, what do you want to say?
I'm actually a big Levy fan. I know you always have been. I think this could be the demise of Spurs now. There's things that he has done wrong in the past. I'm not saying everything that he's done is good. Is everything that's happened Levy's fault? We've got to finals, the team have not performed. Is that down to Levy? No, that's down to the players and the manager. I feel sorry for the guy because as Spurs fans, we wanted an experienced manager. So they went and got Conte and Mourinho. Then they slagged Levy down for getting Conte and Mourinho. We want something fresh. So they got Anjan. Fans slagged it because they don't know him. What was the guy meant to do? Whatever the guy did was always criticised.
Well, I think one of the reasons for that is that supporters will argue that actually, yes, there are some big wins, stadium, training ground, infrastructure, value of the club, all gone through the window. But actually, one of the issues is that they haven't maybe given those managers that you mentioned the players that they necessarily wanted or deserved. And if you go back to Conte and you go back to Mourinho, they'll all say the same thing. More players, greater talent, that leads you to greater success. Kate, hello.
Hello, guys. You all right?
Yeah, we're good. So Troy's here. Troy's here. I'm here. Who's the other one there?
Oh, Salty. Salty's in the house. He's going to be very salty because let me tell you something. This is a new era for Spurs. I think my husband and I were talking. Vivian Lewis was at the game. She's obsessed with football. She's like me. She loves football. She's determined to bring football success back to the club. And I think as soon as we saw her at the match and read about her, we knew that a change was coming. I'm always quite balanced on Levy. I always wanted him at the club just to stay away from the football side. But he's broken so many bridges with other clubs with regards to negotiations. I think it was time for a change. And I honestly think this is going to be such a brilliant move for this club. I can see her focusing on footballing success, which we as fans, we don't care about balance sheets and the stadium. Not really. We want trophies. We want glory. And Tottenham are a sleeping giant. And I think the eyes are just starting to open.
Okay, before don't start. Katie, sorry, can I ask a genuine question though? When would you expect to see investment and change? Would you expect that from January now, or will you wait until next year?
Well, I think January is a difficult one because no one wants to let their top players go. So I would be looking at next summer, really, realistically. But when you look at the deals that Levy missed out on, I mean, Jack Grealish in his prime, we missed out on him for the sake of $5 million. I don't see that happening anymore. I think Tottenham, like I say, are going to put that investment into practice. And poor old salty Alex Crook, what's he going to moan about now?
I don't know. He'll find something to moan about. Don't worry about that. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Kate. I appreciate you calling in today and speaking to the boys. January is always a hard time to buy players. Everyone always says it. I think it was 1.9 billion spent last January. This is talkSPORT.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Score a winning hat-trick of performance, payload and price. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 2 minutes past 11, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. We understand Daniel Levy was removed as Spurs chairman. The club say he stepped down after 25 years. The announcement came as a surprise even to staff at Spurs. Our chief football correspondent is Alex Crook.
This, for me, carries all the hallmarks of being a precursor to a potential takeover. There's been a lot of talk that I've picked up in the last few weeks about investment from the Middle East anyway.
Levy still owns 28% of Spurs shares. Board member Peter Charrington's now non-executive chairman. Elsewhere, Alessia Russo signed a new long-term contract with Arsenal. Russo shared the WSL's Golden Boot with 12 goals last season. Meanwhile, London City Lionesses have confirmed the world record signing of Gras Gayoro. The 28-year-old France midfielder arrives from PSG for £1.4 million. The WSL returns tonight with Chelsea versus Man City. That's live on talkSPORT 2 from 7pm. Wolves striker Sasha Kalajic has joined Austrian side Lask. That's on a season-long loan. Meanwhile, Matty Cash is the latest Aston Villa player to moan about PSR rules. He says the club's owners have money to spend, but they can't. It's after Ezri Konsa said financial restrictions were killing Villa. And Mike Tyson's confirmed an exhibition fight with Floyd Mayweather. Tyson is 36 kilograms heavier, but Mayweather is 11 years younger. talkSPORT's boxing expert Gareth A. Davies says the weight difference doesn't really matter for an exhibition.
If it does happen, it will generate a lot of interest and a lot of publicity. But you do have to worry for Mike Tyson, nearing 60, stepping into a ring again. The truth is, could Mayweather really hurt him?
talkSPORT News.
Angela Rayner's lawyers say they gave her no tax advice on the Sussex property where she underpaid stamp duty. And Nigel Farage plans to tell Reform's conference he's aiming for Downing Street in 2027. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, your go-to destination for quality tyres from great brands like Continental. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Drier today, apart from the odd light shower. Sunny spells for most of us, cloudier and breezier across the northwest, but feeling much warmer.
Very good morning to you. It's Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. We're here right the way through till 1 o'clock this afternoon. Loads of big lines coming out of the England camp going into the weekend. So let's look ahead to the weekend's action with Truss Ford.
White and Jordan's weekend football preview with Truss Ford. Discover the world of Truss Ford for you at trussford.co.uk.
Harry Kane will start against Andorra tomorrow. That's what we're hearing. And John Stones has left the England camp. The quote from Thomas Tuchel in the last few minutes is, "We will not take the risk against Andorra or Serbia." Big blow for John Stones. He is out of the England camp after getting back to fitness under Manchester City.
I don't know how we're going to beat Andorra now.
Sorry. Why are you so dismissive? Do you know what? I've had to put up with this geezer for longer than Spurs have had Daniel Levy in charge. I do apologise to any Andorrans listening for the disrespectful comments of my colleague.
Harry Kane started again.
John Stones is out and Harry Kane
Why
is
is Harry Kane starting?
Why are you two? Why are you so anti?
Well, I'm not anti. I just want a plan B.
You agree with me, though, don't you?
I just want a plan B.
Well, there is a plan B. The plan B is Ollie Watkins.
Well,
but
play him then.
If you speak to any of the former strikers, and you are one of them, right? If you look at Kevin Phillips, goes back to when he had caps back in the early 2000s, and he says, actually, I'm not sure that Ollie Watkins should be the backup.
to Harry Kane, because is he as good as...
If you never play him, you're never going to find out.
Well, he's played 5 games for Aston Villa this season. How many goals has he scored?
It's been terrible for Villa this start of the season. My point is, I've been saying this over the summer, is we know what Harry Kane brings, and it's great. We know what Jordan Henderson brings. We know what these guys bring, and we keep going back to them in these games, and we get to the final stages of big competitions, and if they're nicked or injured or not lack of form, we then just stick with the same thing, and we don't have a plan B and go, why didn't we win that game?
So what's the plan B then?
Plan B is, could we put out a alternative team?
Which we have done before, and we did do a experimental lineup in Andorra, and it was a nightmare.
Come on.
But Curtis Jones played right back. Reece James played left
Harry
back.
Kane played, scored.
But the point is, can you do a solid enough team that goes and beats Andorra, and you get to know what does an Ollie Watkins, a Dominic Solanke, whoever they want to choose.
Well, Solanke's not in the squad.
No, I said whoever they want to choose. Rashford, if you want to. Again, I'm the same. I know what you're going to get with Marcus.
So if you know what you're going to get, Thomas Tuchel probably knows what he's going to get. So he doesn't need to twist in terms of the front players, because he knows that he can use Harry Kane. Or
I want now then this to be the same. I want it to be the same then, because when it was Southgate, it was Harry Kane needs to come out. We need to make a change, and that didn't happen. And then when it lost, it was Gareth Southgate's fault. So now we're going to put a whole 100% of it now on the players. Then, if they don't deliver, right? Are we going to give Harry Kane the same criticism that we give Gareth Southgate in the World Tournament?
I don't know why we have to attach criticism to something that hasn't happened, but the key thing is that if you have a plan B, what is it that you want to see? If it's not Marcus Rashford up top, what is it you want to see?
I just want to see somebody else given an opportunity to play in a game that is...
Who?
Anyone. Ollie Watkins.
Well, Watkins is the only other number 9 that he's picked. So start him, save Harry Kane for Serbia, save a lot of the big hitters for Serbia. England will beat Andorra. Okay, I know they only beat them 1-0 away from home. They had a lot of possession. They had a lot of chances in that game, didn't take them. They can afford to rest players for the most difficult game they've got in this qualifying campaign, which is away from home in Serbia.
You don't have to go wholesale, like where Lee Carsley tried a whole different thing. And that was great. Remember, I was probably the only person defending him. At least you've tried something, fair play. We know that doesn't work, put it away. But when we get to the latter stages of these tournaments, as has been proven over the last couple, we become very one-dimensional. So if you're not going to try it now in games that you know you're going to win, when are you going to do it? In the semi-finals? No. So it's a case of me now just say, why don't we try it now? If Harry Kane scored, if we beat Andorra 9-0, is anybody going to be surprised?
No, but Harry Kane plays every game anyway. That's basically what he does.
And it's not an attachment on Harry, by the way. If he got an opportunity to score more goals and further his England career, then fair play to him.
But to suggest that he hasn't tried new players since he came in would be probably wrong. I mean, look, I'm looking at the 4 lineups now, right? The first lineup against Albania: Pickford, Walker, Konza, Byrne, Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly got his debut that night. Jones and Rice played in the centre of midfield, so we tried a different midfield combination. Foden, Bellingham, Rashford play behind Kane in attack. For the second game against Latvia, which was a 3-0 victory, he went to James at right back, different right back. He went with Konsa and Gay, and Lewis Skelly got another chance. The 2 midfield players deeper line with Bellingham and Rice tried Rodgers in the 10, Rashford on the left again. Bowen came in on the right-hand side, Kane played. Kane. Against Andorra, when they didn't play very well, they had Jones at right back, inverting, James at left back, inverting, Konsa and Byrne as the 2 centre-halves, Bellingham and Henderson playing deep but getting on to join Palmer in the 10. Rodgers and Madueke started that game, and Kane. But Kane was up top, but the variation...
Up top against Senegal, did he take him out in that game?
No, he played in that game alongside
So Kane plays
Eze.
every game.
That's what I just
point.
said.
That's our point.
But the point is, how long...
But you know that.
Well, how many minutes did Ivan Toney get in those?
He got 2 minutes in the game against Senegal.
Get in those?
He wasn't in the squad.
So the point is, you don't get an opportunity to see these other people.
But he's decided that.
But there is a chance that Harry Kane is injured when we get to the World Cup. So you do need to try out alternatives along the way.
That's the point I'm getting to.
And if you're not going to try out an alternative against Andorra at home, if you're an England striker, you may as well plan a summer holiday because you're not getting any minutes at the World Cup.
Would he have included Liam Delap if he hadn't picked up an injury?
Possibly.
Is he a more Kane-esque striker than Ollie Watkins, who is an alternative, is a different type of striker to Kane?
Arguably, I think Harry's got a bit more finesse in his game than Liam.
Liam's a bit more physical.
Yeah, a bit more of a battering ram, without being disrespectful to him. But my point isn't that Harry's the problem. You've got a top-class striker there that that does well for the country. He's done unbelievably well over the time. My point is, if we happen to, and touch wood it doesn't happen, go into this World Cup with a Harry Kane that has picked up an injury that hasn't played 2 or 3 months before.
Or isn't fully fit as he really wasn't at the Euro.
Exactly. Then what? Everything we're doing now is to be ready for the World Cup. Right, none of us can disagree with that.
But you can also not. It's very difficult to get ready because every time you try to get ready, if you're him, and I think one of the reasons why there's been such a churn in the squad, 10 players that were in the last squad,
but you
and
only
not in this
change it in
squad.
certain places.
But you can only change it in certain. But you're forced into certain changes because of the amount of injuries that they keep getting and pull-outs as well.
Is there not also the other argument? Listen, you can't question his goal record,
of course,
and this is the type of game where he will score. If he starts, he's going to score. Harry Kane. You know, we're not going to be surprised. He might get 2, he might get 3. But the way that he plays, and it certainly was a problem at the Euros, the fact he drops so deep into midfield, does his mere presence, you take away the goal-scoring record, does his mere presence hamper some of the players around him? It did at the European Championships. We were asking for Ollie Watkins to come on in that semi-final long before he did come on and scored the winner.
Well, the manager obviously is responsible for designing the system that works around the key talents in the squad, and surely finding the right blend is right, which is maybe why they're trying all the players out around Harry Kane, because they are trying to find.
Yeah, because you need legs around Harry, and you need willing runners without the ball. Again, look, when you've been so successful like Harry has for so long, you become the problem, right? He's been around long enough that now we start going, is Harry Kane the problem because we want a Palmer?
How can he possibly be the problem? There's five games in a row he's scored in.
He was a problem in Germany.
But I'm saying in Germany,
he might have been at certain points, but the whole team was a problem in Germany.
But it's optically you become the problem. Is my point. Not that he is the problem. It's because we go, we want Palmer, we want Bellingham, whoever it might be. Watkins, Villa fans might want him. But my point is, we're going to get to a finals again with Harry Kane playing every single minute of every all the way through, and then if something does happen, we're going into a World Cup finals. We're not sure if Ollie can start. We're not sure if Ivan or Delap, whoever you want it to be.
They're not sure either.
Exactly.
No, they've not really got the confidence in the manager.
That's not entirely true, is it? Because you
can't have the argument of being ready and then not being.
Well, hold on. Have you never seen Ollie Watkins start for England?
Yes, but my point is, so
you have. He started.
Okay, so
I think it was either October or November last year. He played the pivotal game away in Greece.
November last year is what you just said.
4 games since then.
Cool. Yeah. And he hasn't started one.
No, he hasn't.
So the point is
available for the March camp, was it?
So if we go now, then we don't need to look at any other left backs because Lewis Skelly started too. So he's started games. He's going to be fine going all the way through. It's not the case. If you're going to be in a position of talking about...
But Lewis Skelly's just come into the squad. Watkins has been around the squad for a very long time, so it's not like a secret. They know exactly what he can do.
You mentioned Jordan Henderson started in Andorra.
He did, yeah.
We don't need to see Jordan Henderson start at Wembley. At Villa Park. We don't need to see Jordan Henderson start this game. We need to see Elliot Anderson, who's had a brilliant spell with Forest. He needs to start.
We're dancing around the fact is we could probably all pick what the 11 roughly probably agree on 9 of the players.
I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be tomorrow because I'm
on about for the World Cup. For the World Cup now, we could probably argue if everybody's fit, 8 or 9 we'd all agree are more or less in. It's 1 or 2 places that need to be figured out.
Well, I think the reason you're getting so many changes in the squad and in the teams, as I pointed out earlier, is because he's not sure yet. Because I think he had an idea in his mind, and certainly there is one position in particular where I think he's got a real issue, which is that midfield pivot.
Yeah.
Because he does not want to play Rice and Bellingham together because he doesn't think that combination works. And you've seen that, the fact that they've played together once and he was like, no, we're not doing that again.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to find a way. Well, he's trying to find a partner for Rice, and that's what I think the auditions are about this time. It's why Gallagher's not in the squad this time around. That's why Elliot Anderson is in the squad this time around.
You got to play him.
Well, he probably will play him. Just because he didn't play Ivan Toney doesn't mean he won't play the others. He's pretty much brought in, out of all the players that he's called into the squad, he has played them. He called Chalobah into the squad last time and started him against Senegal.
What do you make of the Ruben Loftus-Cheek call-up? Because I've been speaking to people who watch him in Italy.
Yeah.
They're not convinced by his form.
Sorry, they watch him in Italy. He played 4 games at the end of last season in 6 months. He didn't play that many games.
So how's he in the England squad? If it wasn't for the fact he's an ex-Chelsea player and Thomas Tuchel managed him.
Tuchel knows him and trusts him and wants to see whether or not he can.
Do you think that's a fair inclusion?
I'd have picked Mason Mount.
But I'm saying, in all seriousness, I know You got your FA hat on, but is it a fair inclusion?
Who else would you have called into the squad?
Somebody that's played.
Curtis Jones?
At this point, I'd probably go...
Curtis Jones is a good shout.
But he's seen Curtis Jones and he's obviously made a decision on that. Oh, and again, I don't really think...
But he didn't take his
no,
full
but
quota of
I think,
players.
but I think the problem you've got here is that you're assuming, and I was in the same boat as you, you're assuming that the squad means if you've been bombed out of this squad, and you've said this a couple of times, if you've been bombed out of this squad and you're fit, then he's discarded you. But... I think the evidence to the contrary. I think he's just doing his best now. Knows that he's never going to get his first choice squad. So he's doing his best to see as many players in camp as possible. So the Ruben Loftus-Cheek thing might be because I've seen Curtis Jones. I know what he can do. Now I want to see Ruben in this environment and I want to compare him.
But why should Ruben get a call up ahead of people that are playing? I'll go through the list before the next break and find out. But you know, why if Ruben has played 4 games in the last 6 months, why does...
But he started the last couple. He started the last couple for AC Milan at the beginning of the season as well, and in Mayfield he's in a good vein of form, and he is a talented player. There's no doubt.
But my point is, again, it goes to that argument of what qualifies you to get in the squad.
Okay, well, we'll have to come back.
If you played for Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel, it gives you a good chance, doesn't it?
That was our look ahead to the weekend's action with Trust Ford.
White and Jordan's weekend football preview with TrustFord. Discover the world of TrustFord for you at trustford.co.uk.
It's a good news that we booked an NFL guest. Otherwise, we'll be talking about England, I think, for the next half an hour. We've been arguing in the break as well. But luckily,
as a striker.
Luckily enough, we're turning our attention to the NFL. And Philadelphia Eagles beat the Dallas Cowboys overnight at Lincoln Field in a tight second half in the season opener that had it all. Let's get on the NFL track, because you know that talkSPORT is doing pretty much every single game this year.
Oh, yes.
In the NFL. Well, not every single game, but we've got exclusive coverage of 90 games. And over the weekend, talkSPORT 2 will have 5 games from the opening week's schedule. For more on this season's coverage, check out talksport.com /NFL, or head to talkSPORT USA YouTube and the channel that we've got going on there. Let's speak to Efe Abada, the former NFL defensive end with the Washington Commanders. He joins us now. Hello.
Oh, how's it going? Why would you say former?
I know, he said former like you can't play anymore.
Exactly.
I thought you were 40 now. Is that trying to say you're 40 years old?
Is that
what's happening, big man?
It's never over.
I'm good. How you doing?
It's never over. Let's look back at last night, because what a night indeed. The game may be remembered for the instant before a play had even been made from the line of scrimmage.
Honestly, it was a great game. Like, what an opener for the season. NFC East divisional rivals, Super Bowl champions versus, Jerry Jones, I guess. But it was a great game. I think Jalen Hurts was in great form. Saquon Barkley, great running back. But for me, I think the Dallas Cowboys, that was their game to win.
Yeah.
Costly, drops from CeeDee Lamb, but if I was the Eagles, I wouldn't really be happy about that win. There's so many holes, because the Dallas Cowboys came out strong and they should have won that game, in my opinion.
So I suppose the big question is would the Dallas Cowboys have won if they had Micah Parsons in the team, who a week before the season switched Dallas for Green Bay in a stunning £188 million 4-year deal? Now, look, explain this to us, because this is, if for people who don't follow NFL, this is like a jaw-dropping trade, right?
Yes, this is huge. This is you're trading in the reason why you've had so much success, the most impactful player on your team, the most impactful player in the NFL, in my opinion, full stop, to another team, and you've just instantly made them a Super Bowl contender. But to say that his presence was missed, they went against a really good offensive lineman. A dual threat in terms of a pass-run game. Jalen Hurts can move the ball with his feet. Saquon Barkley, like I said, has got a good run game. So I don't think it's a really good test to see if his presence was being and missed. But we'll see how they fare up in other games to see whether the pass rush is lacking.
Troy, put it into context for people who don't follow the NFL, because it's unusual to pay someone who isn't a quarterback £188 million over 4 years and trade him just before the season starts, but also to trade him to a team in your conference.
Yeah, but also it's a generational talent. It's somebody that you would build your franchise around ordinarily. But again, through cap space, it's as if Real Madrid said to Jude Bellingham, "We're going to let you go now and join PSG."
Yeah.
And everyone goes, "Why?" Just couldn't agree a contract, so off you go. And that's basically what it came down to, did it? FA came down to ego and Jerry Jones not allowing him in. But I wanted to ask you more on the Cowboys, because that was a great performance from them. Do you think, because it was against the Eagles and it was all about banner night and dropping the banner for the Eagles, that could be sustained over the course of time? Or was it just one of those games where you're just like, it's first game, we're all happy, we're all up, a few things went our way, and maybe that was like the peak of their performance?
That's a great question. I think that just across the league, week one is always a toss-up between what's going to happen. You don't really have a lot of film on the opponent. everyone's just playing technique and trying to figure things out. They're in the same division, so they're going to see them again. And that's going to be a telltale. But the Dallas Cowboys does have a great, strong team. Dak Prescott's back in form, back from injury. They've bolstered up their receiving core, and their running back room is strong. I think the defense is, Jerry Jones is trying to strengthen up the run game because of obviously the Eagles, and they have a really good, strong game. I think this is the year for the running backs, but we'll see. I'm optimistic. Dallas Cowboys are obviously the team that a lot of people love to hate.
FA, I just need to ask. Sorry to interrupt, bro, because we've got to run out of time. Okay. Are my Ravens going to win it? Yes or no? The only answer is yes.
We need to go through. We need to know
the only answer is yes.
We need to know who's in the Super Bowl window, because there's a few teams, because the Chiefs are going to try and strike back, and the Eagles are trying to be the new dynasty. You've got obviously Green Bay
right now.
Catapulted by
Green Bay.
Broncos have got a second season with Bo Nick. So come on, who's in the?
Don't ever put the Broncos.
Don't.
Tell him, FA, please.
Why would you even say? I thought you were going to go Ravens or the Bills.
Ravens, exactly.
What you
even
doing?
Detroit before that. What's happening there, Sam? Just throw a rogue one in because you know somebody there.
Who does he know? Bo Nix.
Yeah, Bo Nix. That's the only player he knows, and he's got some cowboy boots, so he thought maybe this works. So are the Ravens going to win it this year? Is this Lamar Jackson's coming out year or what?
That's a tough conference. He has a lot of guys that he's got to go through. He's got to go through Buffalo. He's got to go through Kansas City. So he hasn't been able to do it before. So who knows? Who knows? We'll see.
I need you to be a bit more deliberate in that.
A bit more.
Well, Troy's been in to see them in camp, so unlikely, I think, is the answer. Tonight in Brazil, the Chiefs face the Chargers in Sao Paulo before Sunday's slate of 13 games, 5 of which from the opening weekend will be on talkSPORT 2. Looking forward to it. FA, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck over the season. Appreciate it. We'll catch up with you soon. That's F.A. Abada, NFL defensive end, speaking to us live this morning after winning.
You retired him?
I didn't retire him. He just came up on the caption.
He got chopped. Yeah.
We did that to you once, didn't we?
No, you've done it every week since I've met you. But yeah, that's fine.
I haven't retired yet. This is talkSPORT. This is talkSPORT with Selco BW. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
Amen Corner, perhaps the most feared run of holes in golf. Each year it claims the tournament hopes of many, with balls hitting bunkers and water traps aplenty. But why is it so fearsome, and where did it get its name? Just the thoughts of holes 11, 12 and 13 at Augusta National gives the likes of Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth the shivers. McIlroy hit 3 over and Spieth hit 4 over in their final rounds to blow their hopes of a green jacket in 2011 and 2016 respectively. But did you know Amen Corner's name is inspired by a jazz song from 1933? American sports writer Herbert Warren Wint, on the left here, wrote about it in 1958, referencing the song shouted in that Amen Corner when describing the run. Hole 11 is a par 4 over 520 yards with a green guarded by a pond and bunkers to the front edge. 12, perhaps golf's most famous hole, is a par 3 over just 155 yards. The green's guarded by Rays Creek at the front, more bunkers and azalea bushes ready to punish the smallest error. Then there's the 13th that teases the hook shot over the trees. It's a dogleg par 5 over 545 yards that's inviting for big hitters who want to reach the green in 2. If you want to win the Masters, you have to keep your score down around Amen Corner. So who'll be the next to fall victim to golf's most famous and most daunting challenge?
I'm really sorry about these two, by the way.
Do you feel like the headmaster?
Honestly, I feel like every Friday I spend half of my time trying to corral you two into some sort of level of professionalism. And then I go outside and everyone says, oh, you were a bit rough with the boys today.
Yeah. Didn't you get accused of being horrible?
Yeah, I
last
did.
Week? Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Outrageous.
And I gave you a present.
Yeah.
You're getting your own back today, though. Time now to catch up with the latest odds, all thanks to BetMGM.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit BetMGM.co.uk or download the app. 18+GambleAware.org.
Yes, our good friend Troy just went out to get himself some nourishment. And talking of donuts, Dan Towles from BetMGM is here to look at today's top sporting events and discuss the latest odds. Nice of you to turn up, fella.
Makes a change.
Oh, here we go. Oh, so Judith Chalmers has chirped up, has she? He's had all these holidays this summer, and I'll go away for a week, and I'll get messages last week saying, no show again, poor. And then he texts me, I bet he didn't tell you this, he said, it feels like you've been gone forever. And I was like,
That's what he does. That's what he does. That's what he does. I miss you. Oh, by the way, have you got tickets to Ascot next week? Dan, let's look back at last night's international. Good night for Wales and not such a good night for Germany.
correct, yeah. There were odds on going into the game, but watching the highlights, it looked like Wales were under a pump a little bit after scoring early on. Despite this, Craig Bellamy, he's done an amazing job. I think is it only one defeat in 11, I think it is, and that was in Belgium. And they now top the table on just over 3-1 to win it. I think Belgium have got 2 games in hand, but they're currently sat third, and they're still logging odds on at 1-4 to win their group. But a little slip up, and the game in Cardiff next month could go some way in deciding automatic qualification. Northern Ireland, they should get a good mention. They got a good win in Luxembourg. Like Wales, they topped the group, albeit it's only one match, but positive start for Michael O'Neill's men. Early days, they're 7-1 to win the group, with the Germans, despite a surprise defeat to Slovakia, still 2-5 to top the group, and the two of them face each other this Sunday in Cologne.
They do. It's absolutely vital as well. And it is golden goals time. It's not golden goals the way it usually is. Did anyone win last week, by the way?
Right. We need to have a chat between us because, gents, it hasn't got off to the greatest start this year. So we're trying to raise some money for prostate cancer. We've had 9 predictions from you so far. Not only have we not got a correct score, we've only got 1 correct result.
Who was that?
You, that was you, Sam. We're predicting Arsenal versus Leeds. So I'm not.
Oh, that was a tough one.
But that's in the past. Let's look forward. So, as you said, it's not normal goals on the app or the website this weekend, but we want to try and raise some money for prostate cancer. So we're going to give you a bonus round of the international break. So we've picked 3 matches for you. Sam, we're going to kick off with you with England and Andorra.
Oh, give him another hard one, yeah?
Yeah, and 3 of 3 so far, but coming off a defeat to Senegal.
That's tough to call the winner, that.
It is tough to call the winner, but he only gets money if he gets the correct score. So, Mr. Matterface, over to you.
Got the score ends in 0.
Yeah. Between 3 and 6.
Andorra have never scored a goal against England, thankfully. I hope that continues tomorrow. Obviously, it was a very tight game in Barcelona, only 1-0. But historically, when they come to England, I think it's 6-5 and 4. I'm going to go 4-0 England.
4-0 in 7 from 7 versus Andorra, scoring 26 goals. So 4-0 is a 9-2 shout. And Crookie, before you start giving Mr. Matterface a little bit of abuse, I think you went for a similar scoreline when they played each other in the away fixture. And I think we had a little bit of a debate about, I didn't think they were going to score that many.
You did, actually.
Yeah.
You were right on that occasion.
Yeah, and you stood there and you sat there and said it's a complete waste of time, this game. It'd be 4 or 5-0 and we don't want any players to get injured. As it was, it's 1-0. So 4-0 Mr. Matterface, 9-2. Troy,
Hello,
Denmark versus Scotland.
Another game that no one cares about, but thanks, mate, for giving me the tough one. I am going to
hold on. There is probably about 7 or 8 million people that live above Hadrian's Wall that care about it.
Okay, well, they should get this offer then to talk about Denmark versus Scotland. I'm going for a
We should
Denmark.
got Jim on for the prediction, but I think he did breakfast instead.
I did it. I'm going to go 2-1 Denmark. I think Denmark are just going to have a little bit too much in the forward areas, personally, just to get up over Scotland. It's these awkward games. We were talking about it earlier, wasn't we? Crookie had a nice bet on yesterday, expecting Germany to win. Obviously, that let him down, and obviously he now hates everyone that's German. So, it's that kind of way. I think it's going to be 2-1 Denmark, and I am joking. He loves the Germans.
2-1 Denmark. Won the last 3 games versus Scotland at home without conceding goals. You do think the Scots get on the score sheet. So Denmark 2-1 is 13-2. Crookie, Germany versus Northern Ireland. All mentioned their defeat last night. 1-9 to win the game, but I hear your prediction suggests you think it'd be a little bit closer than the price suggests.
Yeah, let me down for a 4-timer. I was hoping you were going to ask me about Wales because I cut short a family day out because I needed to watch Wales against Kazakhstan for this show.
Basically,
lie.
Basically, he sensed an opportunity to send. Where did you send the missus and the kids?
To the swimming pool.
To the swimming pool. And went, I'll just go and sit in the sports bar and watch Wales because it's happy hour.
all in the name of research. I've gone for 2-1 to Germany. Surely they'll win at home, but that Slovakia result has spooked me a bit into thinking it won't be quite as comfortable as those odds suggest.
Yeah, 2-1 is a 9-1 shout. I think Germany obviously disappointing last night in the pre-match odds, but 2-1 German win is 9-1. So putting that all together is 400-1. But let's not forget about the past. Let's look forward and hope we win some money for prostate cancer.
Let's talking about the past. We know you want to talk about the NFL, but we've just done that. So instead, US Open tennis.
Yeah, nice segue. 2025 US Open finishes this weekend in New York. Men's side, we have Carlos Alcaraz meeting Novak Djokovic, and I seem to be talking about them two constantly every time we have a tennis Grand Slam. Potential last shot, a 25th Grand Slam for the 38-year-old Serbian. Djokovic leads Alcaraz 5-3 on heads-to-heads, but in the last 3 matches on hard courts, Djokovic has beaten Alcaraz, but despite that, he's a 3-1 outsider to feature in Sunday's final. Defending champion Jannik Sinner, he faces Canadian Felix Auger Alassane, I think his pronunciation is, who was a set down in his quarterfinals but came back to win in 4 sets. Tough task against Sinner, and the odds reflect that. He's a 13-1 chance with the Italian, who's odds on not just to win the match but also odds on to win the tournament. In the women's draw, we got a repeat of the Wimbledon semi-final where Arina Sabalenka will face Amanda Anisimova. Sabalenka is odds on, like she was at Wimbledon, but Anisimova has a good record against the world number 1, and at 37-20, so just under 2-1, she could be a little bit of value.
Top man, notice that no one came to your aid with the pronunciations there. That was a look at the latest odds, all thanks to BetMGM. Cheers, Dan. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18+, gambleaware.org.
It's talkSPORT, Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. We're here through till 1 o'clock today. We're going to talk about England again in just a moment. Troy's got a lot to say, but also we want to talk about John Stones because he came into camp, according to Thomas Tuchel, with niggles, and they weren't going to take a risk of playing him against Andorra and Serbia. But it's a latest setback for John Stones, who just can't seem to stay fit, and you can't help but feel sorry for him because he is an incredibly talented player. So we'll ask Troy what happens next. This is talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
Do you want the chance to win £25,000 in cash plus Oasis tickets to their very last show on Wembley, 27th September? Listen up, because we're giving you the chance with our biggest competition yet. 2 lucky winners, yes, 2, will win a pair of tickets to Oasis Live at Wembley for the last time. But that's not all. Along with the tickets, one of you will walk away with a massive 25 grand in cash. For all the details of how to enter, listen up right now, because you could be one of those lucky winners.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Big weekend of football on talkSPORT. WSL starts tonight. It's live with Chelsea, Manchester City at Stamford Bridge. We've got live coverage from 7. Tomorrow we're bringing you live football from the World Cup qualifiers. It's England against Andorra. But John Stones will not be there. Thomas Tuchel has been speaking about the Manchester City defender in the last few minutes.
Unfortunately, John Stones just left. He came with minor issues, muscular issues, to camp and didn't progress as we thought and hoped he would. So he left camp this morning because we will not take the risk, not against Andorra and also, unfortunately, not against Serbia. Everyone else is available. We had 21 players yesterday in training, 21 players today in training, and make sure hopefully that everyone is available for tomorrow.
That was Thomas Tuchel talking about the squad ahead of tomorrow's game against Andorra, which is live on talkSPORT. We were talking about this about half an hour ago when we were discussing the striker dilemma and what you do, because Harry Kane plays every game. Maybe I'm a bit of a just sort of realist about it. I just think he will play every game. That's what they do. Even when he's half fit, he still plays because he's got this desperation to play, and he always ends up popping up with a goal. But we were talking about what you think will be the makeup of the team when he gets to America, and you've been sort of, what have you been devising over the last half an hour? What you've got an 11?
I was just saying, you talk about areas of the pitch that we're concerned about. I think you raised the centre, the 2 holding midfielders. Yes. Who's going to be the pivot of that? I've literally just done it down. I think, would you disagree with most of what I've done there? I think the hardest area is the high left area for us.
So why don't you take us through what you think then?
I think it'll be Pickford, Reece James, Gahey, Konza, maybe Chalobah, depending on the Chelsea link. And then it'll be a toss-up between Livramento and Lewis Skelly. If he gets back into the Arsenal team towards the back end of the season, like he did, he'll go. And then I think the midfield will consist of a change between Bellingham and Palmer in the 10. Declan Rice, and then an Anderson and Henderson pivot change with a pivot, with Saka on the right, Kane up top, and then I think you're going to go Anthony Gordon on the left.
Hold on, how many players have you got in the middle of the park?
No, I just said it's a rotation between those 2. So Anderson and Henderson will rotate. So it'll be one of the 2 with Rice, and it'll be Palmer or Bellingham. It'll probably be Bellingham would be at the top of it, and then Palmer rotate in.
So I've
already got the subs as well.
So the team I've got: Pickford, James, Stones or Konza, depending on who's fit, Gay, Livramento, Rice, Anderson, Bellingham 10, Saka, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane. So basically the same team.
But not dissimilar.
But with the changes.
But the point, the point
is we all know anyway. So why do we need to experiment?
No. So now let's have a look at the other guys. Who are the
backup options?
The 12th, the 13th, 14th, and 15th men.
So who do you want to see then tomorrow?
But not the people he's chose, unfortunately.
You don't know who he's chose yet. He's only chose Kane.
No, I mean in the squad. Like I don't need to see what Rashford brings, because I know what he had. He had back-to-back games.
I think I'd like to see Madueke again. I thought he was one of the few players who actually came out of that Andorra game with credit. I thought he was Arsenal's best player going forward at Anfield at the weekend. So I think there's an argument for his inclusion, particularly with no Bukayo Saka. Just on John Stones, who you've got in your team, obviously injured again. Last season, I've just been tying it up. Last season, he missed 32 games with various injuries. The season before that, he missed 13 games with various injuries. The season before that, it was 8 games with injuries. So his injury record is getting worse.
Did he go to the World Cup?
In Qatar? Yeah, he was there, wasn't he?
Did he go to the European Championships?
Yes, I believe he was.
He always manages to get fit for tournaments, which is good news.
but it's difficult, isn't it? The injury layoffs.
It's harder. It's getting
the
harder.
injury layoffs are getting
harder.
And the problem is, it's getting harder for him because now you've got Chalobah doing so well.
But he's such a good footballer. When he's fit, he has got to be in the team.
But that quote from Thomas Tuchel concerns me, Troy, because he said he's come with a niggle.
Yes.
Or niggles. So that's not a specific injury. That just suggests that his body at the moment is not
break it down. Yeah, and you'd be so worried that this is 3 games into the season. You know, he had a bit of a layoff as well.
Played in the Club World Cup though, didn't he?
Yeah, but they went out early though, didn't they? My point is, he still had the break. It's not Chelsea who got 3 weeks off. They went out early enough that he had a long break. Missed a lot of games, as you just said, last season. Look, I think John Stones is an exceptional football player. But when I go to look at our teams for the tournament, I want us to go with the fittest available team. I don't want. We've had so many years now of carrying people that have come in injured.
You don't want patched up players.
You can't. And if that happens to be your best player, fine. You have to take that risk. But you can't keep going in with 4s and 5s. I think when you've got Gahey, Conte's never let us down in an England shirt. Chalobah's been great so far. Do you really need to risk a John Stones?
Well, this might be the reason you might want to risk him. Here's Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, and this will maybe not stop. In the moment, the 4 players compete in central midfield: Jordan, Elliott, Declan and Ruben. They're all very mobile players. There is not I think from characteristic, not one pivotal classic deep number 6. It's maybe John Stones, but he left this morning, who fits this characteristic, but it's absolutely no problem. I think the strengths of our players is to be mobile, which is in modern day football more an advantage than a disadvantage. And we have our ideas how we will set up. I will not give it away too early, but hopefully you can see some glimpses of it tomorrow and in Serbia, and from there we go. We have top players, and we will find the right pairing. We will need to be flexible because anything can happen. Someone can be injured, so it's anyway not the moment to make final decisions for the World Cup. The decisions are now made for Andorra and nothing else.
Yeah, well, interestingly, actually, because he hasn't played any midfield pairing twice so far since he became the England manager. But it always was our feeling, I think, behind the scenes, that if John Stones was fit, he would try him in that 6 position. Can you see him being able to operate there?
No.
Why?
Can he do it as a footballer? Yeah, but again, you'll get ran off now. His legs aren't what they once were. We've seen that in the Spurs game where he tried to play the high line when they scored the first goal. He hasn't got that ability to sprint back anymore, and I think that's his body. I think he's getting scared now to really push. And by the way, it's not a dig at him. When you've had so many injuries, it's hard to push through that pain barrier. Also, if he's playing as a 6, there's a whole different being of being at the back and you're looking at the whole pitch. We said it with Trent. When Trent's on the right and you put him in as a 6, there's a whole different dynamic that's needed. So now moving John Stones forward at that elite level, I think he's a risk unworthy of taking, personally.
Do you understand what he means when he's talking about
characteristic-wise?
Classic 6.
Of course,
we only have mobile players in that zone.
I was interested that he put Jordan Henderson as a mobile at his age bracket. I understood old Jordan Henderson, yes, gets around and that's his thing, but now at Brentford he's more of a 6 with legs around him. So it was interesting that.
So Rice can do that role. I mean, that was more of his role at West Ham, wasn't it?
I think that's gone. I think that's gone with Declan.
So do I. And do you know what? I don't think Thomas Tuchel wants to play him like that. I think he feels by playing him as the 6, he's almost taking something away from
Again, I think he opens himself, and I know we're not allowed to ask too many questions at these things, but so your characteristic.
Ask as many questions as you want.
No, not in here. To Thomas Tuchel, the question I would have said is, well, okay, so you said Anderson, Rice, Henderson, and Ruben are all one characteristic. They're all runners. So why did you bring Ruben in then?
If you've already got them.
Do that. Yeah. Do you get my point? Like, you've bought in runners and you're looking for a traditional 6, which he's not.
But I think
why have you bought Ruben in?
I'm not speaking on his behalf. I know
you probably are. You probably texted him already, FA Sam. But go on.
But he would say, well, go on then. Who is the other alternative player that plays in that position that can do a difference?
No, but you're saying you want. Different. But he's saying he wants a difference.
But if there isn't anybody, then you have to
go and get someone that hasn't been in the team for 7 years and pick the same as what you've got, and then complain about the thing we haven't got. Doesn't make sense.
So what do?
You go for a different type. You look at again. I'm going to give you a name now. We had a debate about this kid last week because someone thinks he's a generational talent.
I was just about to chuck this in.
Yeah. You was arguing last week that obviously he was in the Euro final. He started.
He was, yeah.
You've got Kobe Mainoo, who, again, I don't think he's done enough this season to be in the team, but he's definitely done as, if not as much as Ruben to be in this team. That's a difficult argument. So again, I don't know why we don't challenge on these questions, because again, what he's just said there is we don't have a traditional six. We have players that are the same. They're more physical. Their profile is that, and then you bring in somebody that their profile is to run forward and burst forward, and has been injured a lot.
Okay, well, we might get to challenge him a little bit later on, because Faye Carruthers is sitting down with him right now to do a one-on-one interview, and we're going to bring you that at 12:30 here on talkSPORT. But tonight, the WSL starts, and CEO of the newest club in WSL, the London City Lionesses, Martin Semmens, is joining us in just a few minutes.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Supporting van owners to get the job done. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With the headlines at 12:01. I'm Nick Ellaby. Good afternoon. The injured John Stones has pulled out of the England squad. Here's the boss.
Minor issues, muscular issues, and didn't progress as we thought and hoped he would. So he left camp this morning because we will not take the risk.
We're told Harry Kane will start against Andorra tomorrow live on talkSPORT. Tuchel says there'll be no experimenting now. He'll go with the best team possible in both games. Meanwhile, Dan Burn says he feels no animosity towards Alexander Isak, who forced a move to Liverpool. Burn's pleased there is clarity at Newcastle now and has nothing but good wishes for Isak. Arsenal confirm Alessio Russo signed a new long-term contract. Russo scored 36 goals in 72 games for the Gunners after joining 2 years ago. Meanwhile, London City Lionesses have confirmed the world record signing of Grace Gaoro. The 28-year-old France midfielder arrives from PSG Clichy for £1.4 million. The WSL returns tonight with Chelsea versus Man City. That's live on talkSPORT 2 from 7 p.m. Wolves striker Sasha Kalajdzic has joined Austrian side Lask. That's on a season-long loan. And Mike Tyson has confirmed his exhibition fight against Floyd Mayweather. talkSPORT boxing expert Gareth A. Davies says you do have to worry for Tyson, who's approaching 60, but could Mayweather really hurt him? Oh, we'll try and bring you that clip in the next bulletin. There is more on this madness at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Now, we're being told Angela Rayner will leave the government after underpaying stamp duty on a flat in Brighton. And 3 Brits were among 16 people killed in a tram crash in Lisbon. There's more from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With a huge range of premium brands available, we've got what you need to drive away happy every time. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Drier today, apart from the odd light shower. Sunny spells for most of us, cloudier and breezier across the northwest, but feeling much warmer.
This is talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. We're here through till 1 o'clock this afternoon. And, of course, later on today, the WSL returns. Chelsea, Manchester City's live on talkSPORT. Looking forward to that. Tonight's at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea have been in the transfer market, but they're not the only ones, it must be said, because the London City Lionesses pulled off the deal of the century yesterday, the biggest deal ever in WSL history. Well, let's find out by asking their CEO, because Martin Semmens, former Southampton CEO, but now London City Lionesses CEO, is alongside us in the studio. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming in. Well, we've got to start with Grace Gioro, the French international we saw shine at the European Championships. £1.4 million it's being reported as, and London City making a splash. Is it a world record?
I'm sorry to ruin with my first comment, but no, it isn't. It's a fantastic signing, fantastic player. The numbers are not quite right. I think this will be a case of the club not necessarily wanting to sell to us and not necessarily wanting to go through, which is why I went through so late, which is why I'm a bit croaky today. But I suspect those figures are probably more promoted from the other side. So it's a big deal. It's in and around the 1 million mark, but it's not actually a world record, sadly.
It's not the only big deal that we've seen in the WSL over the last couple of weeks. We've seen Olivia Smith, obviously, earlier in the summer, go from Liverpool to Arsenal. Alyssa Thompson has gone to Chelsea for another world record deal, although both sides are disputing that as well. Yep. No one wants to be a world record for some reason. I don't know what it is. But why the explosion in transfer fees this year?
I think people are beginning to really see the value of the league and the value of the game, and it comes down to whether you want to invest in your team or not, and at what point. So our viewpoint is the market is going to grow. No one can argue with that. The question is how fast and how far. And from our point of view, the earlier you can invest and the earlier you can move, the better it's going to be. So looking across at Alex, I think at some point we'll be sitting in this room talking about players that are worth 4, 5, 6 million. So I think teams like us want to invest now while the market is reasonable. And therefore, I think that has driven the market up during this window. So I've been involved in the team about 7 or 8 weeks. I've already seen the
You've been a
prices go up.
busy person at that time, don't you?
Yeah, but I've seen the prices go up in the last 7 or 8 weeks.
Martin is the CEO of London City Lionesses, the only fully independent WSL club, not attached to any men's entity. Michelle Kang is the businesswoman behind the whole thing. Plowed in a lot of money, signed a lot of players. They've gone from not nowhere, but from a team that nearly went into bankruptcy not so long ago to somewhere very fast. The new players are on the block, really. And there's every expectation that they could cause a splash this year in the WSL, having signed the number of players that you've signed this summer. So what attracted you to it?
Yeah, so I think, I've been away the last couple of years in Italy, in Serie A with Parma, and I chose to come back to England, and I was choosing to take some time out. And I was coming back from the airport, and my agent, my representative, called me and said, look, I know you don't want to take calls, but a lady called Michelle Kang wants to talk to you. And you're like, well, I'm not going to turn down that conversation, because for me, she is, the number one investor in women's sports in the world. She's got a very clear vision. I met her within an hour. We kind of agreed that this was a great project. So for me, being an independent team is very, very important. It means that we're focused entirely on the women's game. There's no compromise. There's no, we're at it. Michelle wants to invest in infrastructure, so we're building a brand new training centre not too far from where I live, which is very helpful. We're looking at building a new stadium in London, but she really wants to push the standards across the game. So you see the transfers, you see the games tonight, but in reality, we have to improve the medical care, we have to improve the coaching, we have to improve everything for the players, and then it will go to the highest level. So for me personally, I tell you, Richard Scudamore, the guy who used to run the Premier League, is a bit of a friend and mentor to me. When I went to see him, he said, make sure you pick your owner, pick the project, pick somewhere you can make a difference. Don't just pick the club or what your friends tell you is a great club to go to. In my role, and for me, this is the best project I could possibly do because we will grow and because things will go in a great direction, almost whatever we do. But I think if we do a good job, we can really accelerate the game.
Well, you've done that as well, as you said last year, going up against Birmingham City. I was watching that game as well because obviously it was the winner goes up, wasn't it? Yeah. And obviously you get that promoted. You brought in Nikita Paris as well, massive names. How have you seen those ladies come in and impact the players that have managed to stay on from last year? Have you saw a massive raise in their level as well?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the club before my time did a very good job of being clear where it was going. And you have this terrible situation when any team gets promoted where some guys or girls that got you there leave.
Yeah.
And I think they did a very good job of dealing with that early. And then we have brought in, more than 11 players, as we always say. So therefore it is a new team in some shape or form. But I think what the club has done well is it has brought Nikita Paris and many players at sort of 28, 29, 30 with great experience. We have a lot of Champions League winners in the squad, but we've also got young players that we had before, young players from Barcelona we bought this week. Lucia Carreras, who's 19, top wing back from Barcelona. So that merging of the group is very important. The facilities there are great. We have the best pitches I've ever seen. The facilities that we can put in place at this point are fantastic. We will improve it. So they're merging. I think the issue is bringing a new team together on the pitch. Right?
Have you found explaining to people the project has been easier, but then when they come to the training ground, because you see it in the men's game as well, right?
Yeah.
People have come from a certain level that they're expecting. They see the training ground and it has been improved, but it is, a little bit behind where you would like it to be. Have you been that a difficult stumbling block to get players over the line?
Yeah, not in this project actually. So as you referenced in Southampton, our job was to get a player in the training ground and they would never leave because it was so beautiful. I've done other things where it's been the other way around. I'm sure you're aware of that. But I think this project is so clear in the women's game that people want to come. And I think the reason for that is even at the top clubs in England, where the players are being treated well, paid well, and winning trophies, they sometimes don't feel they're the focus of attention. And I think we can give that. It doesn't make us better. It's just different. And I think Michelle's name and brand in the game is so strong. It's so clear. It's not a charity. It's not trying to help the women get better. It's a real business with real investment. And I think they want to be part of that. But the training ground project is an important one,
You mentioned Southampton there, and this is a complete change for you, not just in terms of going from the men's game to the women's, but obviously you've joined a team who have ambitions to challenge towards the top end of the league. At Southampton, you were a firefighter, really, just trying to cling on to your status in the Premier League. How different has that been?
Yeah, I think everyone has ambition to win. To be clear, I have to say that I'm part of everyone works in the sport. But yeah, it is different. I think the issue in a club like Southampton is you're working incredibly hard and hopefully doing a very good job to kind of stand still. And the men's game, I think, is struggling from that. If you look at those clubs, they are doing a great job and working hard. But, really progressing is difficult. So it is a great opportunity for us to progress. I mean, I was involved in the women's game at Southampton. We built a team from scratch. In Parma, we got a team promoted up to Serie A. So I know the game, but not at the same level. But for me, the big plus is that everybody wants to be part of it. You won't find anybody in the women's game, a player, a coach, a physio, who's not there because they want to be part of it. And without saying the opposite, there are situations in the men's game where the money has led to, some confusion of that charm and that, everyone going in the same direction. So that's probably the biggest difference for me.
I'll say crooks. And that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
They're not in there for the purity of the sport. Yeah. It's there for the money.
Yeah, and everybody who works for us in London City is there because they want to be 100%. Part of that project, not because we can pay more than somebody else.
And you want to make them a success. And obviously, the acceleration of coming from nowhere to somewhere very quickly will breed jealousy in some parts. Sure. How has the rest of the WSL viewed you? Because there's an established order here. at the moment, it feels like Chelsea are winning it and they're untouchable.
Yep.
Arsenal are doing their best to try and catch up with them. Manchester United and Manchester City are there or thereabouts, although Manchester City have dropped off in the last couple of years. And then you're going to come along and nick one of those Champions League places, and they're not going to be very happy with you. So how are you being viewed?
Yeah, so first of all, we want to disrupt that, and that's part of the fun, and that's why I'm here. We're not going to hide from that. But I do think it's different, again, from the men's game, because the whole game has to grow. So that sort of rule of economics, that if you grow the market and you grow the world, everybody will come up with you. So I don't think it will be as negative as that. I'm quite new to the role. Haven't met many of these clubs yet, so we'll see.
It needs a little bit of rivalry, though, doesn't it?
It needs rivalry, but it needs growth, right? So, I mean, we all know, we've seen it on the men's teams. Another team will come in and have more money, and there is jealousy there. I think in the women's game, we all need to rise up, rising boats and all that stuff. And I think if Michelle is investing properly, and we're not just investing in expensive players, we're investing in the whole game, then everybody will benefit from that, I think.
I think Russo, there was a lot of talk. You got Russo over the line, wasn't there? Now, obviously, she's signed with Arsenal now. How close was that? Can you tell us how close that was? Or
Beth Mead. I think you're talking about Beth. Actually.
Beth Mead, sorry.
Yeah, I'd love
Russo.
that.
Sorry, Beth Mead. Sorry, my bad.
Fantastic. Sorry. Yeah, I think there were a number of players.
I know.
That's all right. She's a fantastic player. Yeah. My daughters would have been thrilled with that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of top players that we spoke to. I would say nearly all of them wanted to come for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Some could be done, some couldn't. So, I think Beth would have been an unbelievable, spokesperson and an image for our club.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't happen for whatever reason. We're not hiding that it was part of the agenda. But we were able to get a series of really fantastic players in.
Do you go into it thinking, right, we've got to disrupt the marketplace with the WSL? Do we need a marquee household name that then promotes people to come to the games, young girls? My daughter, for example, is asking me all day today to go to the Chelsea game tonight. Pretty sure we'll end up coming to one of your games very soon as well.
Yeah.
But are you looking for somebody to be that flagship for your new brand, essentially?
Yeah, I think not somebody, but a lot of people.
A lot of people.
So again, being transparent, I think in the men's game, I would never have had that conversation at Southampton's level, for example, about a player being, figurehead. For sure here, yeah. And we have signed a series of players. Aslani's been there for 2 years, a massive player. And we have the Italian captain. I think we have the Swedish captain.
I was about to say, you've got Aslani. You've got Katie Zellum. You've got Jana Fernandez, who's very well thought of.
Nikita Paris.
You've got Nikita Paris, Grascioro, Daniela van der Donk. I mean, it's almost a little bit of an all-star team now, isn't it?
Yeah, and we just signed the Paris Saint-Germain captain, which is a top team, top player. I mean, again, I wasn't aware in the summer that I would be coming into a women's game, and I was watching her going, wow, that is some player in the Euros. And so it's not about one player, but certainly we're trying to accelerate a fan base. So we have to build a local fan base. This is a team with a smallish fan base, it's only been alive a few years, and a global fan base, because we believe we can attract people all around the world that love the game. Hence the sponsorship deal we've just done. Have you seen that with the Together Group, which is Alex Morgan's brand, which is about women, people watching the women's game. So we believe we can build a global fan base, and you need those star athletes. And I think the other thing I can say, Troy, I have 3 daughters as well, and they follow the athletes.
Yes.
So I watched the Euros with my 3 daughters on holiday in Spain, and they are obsessed by Chloe Kelly. It's not a mild like, it's an obsession. And I think that obsession for certain athletes in the game is a very strong part of the fan growth, I think.
Minimum salaries for players in the top 2 tiers of women's football. What's the thinking behind that? And it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's not the only development that's sort of come in this season. With the agreement with Nike, you've got the equipment provision as well for those who don't have endorsement deals.
Yeah, that's the key. So I wasn't part of the minimum salary thing. I've only been here a few weeks, but I know, again, from the men's game, there are a lot of things that are in place like that. Like you have to have an academy, or you have to have this level of academy. So the women's game is not something, the minimum salary is important and it's media savvy, but it's much more than that. So it's about making sure that you have the right kit, making sure you have the right number of hours of training for the young children, the pitch levels, the medical problems. There are rules now going in place about making sure you have a certain level of medical care. We will go way beyond that. But those things are really, really important to raising the game and making the sport very attractive to watch and to grow. You have to have that.
How important was that Euros win?
Massive, I think. I was where I was coming during those last few games, and I think the impact of, I forget, it was the quarterfinal or the one before where they nearly went out in the last minute.
Quarterfinals.
Yeah. So the difference between
every game, actually.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
I think the difference between winning that and going out early will have a massive impact on our project. I'm sure you've seen the numbers from the last year win, where the crowds went through the roof, and then last year they settled a bit. So they'll go through the roof again, I think.
Yeah, but actually I was doing a bit of digging on the old sort of appeal of it, and the linear broadcasting figures have gone down in terms of eyeballs and stuff like that. But actually, the digital space, there's been an explosion of women's interaction and content. And that is the growth area, isn't it? And although people will say, well, actually, less people are watching, actually, that's not true.
Yeah. A lot of the games are on YouTube as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
I can give you an insight into that without giving too many secrets away. But I worked for a long time with the Premier League about how they could convert from traditional broadcasting to more of the digital. And it's very difficult for them to do it, right? Because they have such amazing deals in place. How do you ever move forward from that? And they will find a way, and there's brilliant people doing it. But in the women's game, you can switch to that much quicker. So the future will be, digital interactions, shorter interactions. They believe the future is, in the end, people won't watch the whole game. They'll watch a portion of it and watch all the games at the same time. So I think we have a real opportunity in that space. And the other insight I can give you is the commercial deals at the top girls have within the sport really are fantastic now.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Troy now as the only professional here. The difference between your commercial deal and your salary might have not been that big.
Yeah.
In the women's game, I think there's a much bigger emphasis on those commercial deals they're doing outside of their salary.
So much to talk about with Martin Semmens, the Chief Executive of London City Lionesses, former CEO of Southampton in the Premier League as well. We'll get his take on the Premier League and on the departure of one of the longest-serving chairmen that he has gone into battle with once or twice. Hey, happy Friday to you. It's Sam Matterface with the Crookmeister and the Donut King. Troy Deeney is here as well.
That.
What?
The Donut King?
You
what is he chewing right there?
What?
You said to him he's gone on the diet one. What is his donut that he's had?
It's the donut you bought.
Why are you picking on him? You're going to get in trouble. You're going to be hauled into the headmaster's office.
Classic ice ring donut like everybody else does. What have you gone for?
Who bought the donuts?
I bought it for everyone.
That's why I said you're the donut king.
Gone
What's
for
wrong with that?
But by the way,
I also bought coffees and teas.
I've not got
Coffee
a sweet
king.
tooth. The only time I eat anything sweet is here with you.
Oh, is it?
True story.
What about the sweets that the lady brings at the front desk?
I quite like those as well.
This is Friday, everybody. It's Sam Matterface alongside Alex Crook and Troy Deeney, and we're with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. I'm delighted to say that the CEO of London City Lionesses, Martin Semmens, is in the studio as well. You previously, in a different life, worked at Southampton. And I suppose the big news over the last 24 hours, and not that we want to steal the WSL's thunder, is that Daniel Levy is leaving as the executive chairman of Tottenham. And he's been there for 25 years, and it's difficult to survive in the Premier League for 25 years, no matter who you are. But what did you make of his departure? Were you surprised by it? And what was he like to do business with?
Yeah, first of all, just typical of Daniel to sort of gazump the WSL and take over the media last night. We're signing the world's best player, but thank you, Daniel. It's a hard one for me. I mean, I know Daniel really well. So first of all, he's a very good person, a very decent, compassionate human. He's probably not as charismatic as Steve Parish or Christian, and I think some of that comes with it. But I don't think you can look at the project they've got there and not go, that's an incredible project, right? So when I came into the Premier League, we were way better than Tottenham and beat them every year, and they were lower than us in the league, and now they're a fantastic football club. So the stadium for me is the best in England, possibly the best I've been in Europe. I haven't been to all of them, but so it's an incredible project. So, I had my run-ins, as I think you mentioned before, with him on transfers. Difficult to deal with, difficult negotiator. I didn't love it. Doesn't mean he's bad at it. I had much better times selling to Alex's Man United because they would spend more money. But so difficult to deal with. Not always warm and easy in doing transactions, but that's not a bad thing. And I wasn't too surprised, if I'm honest. I don't know much about it, but Vinay going there, I think, was a sign that things might be changing. And I hear there will be some change in investment, which I think will be great for the Spurs fans that I've got, because I think the club will go from strength to strength when that happens. That's my feeling.
You mentioned that you didn't love it when you were dealing with him. Give us an example of how difficult he was to negotiate with. What, he would drive the price up if you were buying, or drive the price down if you were selling?
Yeah, I think both those things. I think the history would be that difficult to sign players from that club, for sure. The deal would always be driven very, very hard, and I think that had an impact on the sporting project for me. So the way it works within top players, Troy,
affected his sporting project.
I think so, and I'll try and explain why. So the way the system works in the Premier League is, in reality, we're all in a pecking order, and some people hate me for saying that Southampton was part of that. But we would say to players, apart from Virgil, you come to us, we'll develop you, and then we'll sell you to a top club. I think that Tottenham didn't sell that well, and therefore some players didn't want to go there because they couldn't move on. So if Troy got a chance to go to Tottenham, he might think that was the limit and never going to sell me to Real Madrid. So I think that was an issue for him. But from a buying perspective, I think Daniel, because he's a great businessman, looked for the best deals. So the one that we struggled on was the Holberg transfer. 1 year left on his contract. There's a lot of conversations goes on about driving that price down, and we were not going to put up with that. And that caused some fraction. But, can you blame him for trying to drive down the price? No. It's the business, no.
But it's interesting, because I always wondered why you didn't go to Tottenham. And it was that? Was it because they
no.
to Real Madrid afterwards?
No, definitely wasn't Real Madrid. No, just different times of my career as well. I was 31, 32. And obviously he was going to be essentially a backup to Harry Kane. So, it's a completely different conversation to 25-year-old me, who was in the Prem as a captain and thinking, the world's my oyster. So, I totally take that point. I think it's interesting as well, hearing it from your point of view, because I think players do think like that. We also think the board don't normally think like that. You're thinking about money in versus money out. So it's interesting that you think like that as well.
Yeah, and I think Virgil van Dijk was a big one for us. I think we treated him in a different way and said you can't go, and that didn't work well for us. It didn't really.
I was going to ask you about that, because that's a very similar situation to what Steve Parish will be dealing with now with Mark Gay, in that he thought he was going to Liverpool. He'd done a medical. I know Virgil didn't get quite that far initially, or maybe he did, but obviously he ends up staying. They've got an unhappy player on their hands. How did you get Virgil van Dijk back on side?
Well, we didn't. I mean, Virgil was fantastic. In my opinion, Virgil trained at 75 and played at 75%, and he was still the best player in the team, if not the league. He's that good. He didn't cause us any problems. He never said a single bad word to anyone, but he wanted to go, and therefore it wasn't effective for us to keep the player, I don't think.
You did keep him for 6 months.
Kept him till January. It wasn't good for the squad. It wasn't good for the environment. But again, to be clear, Virgil never said one negative word to anybody.
Why did you do it? Why did you keep him?
Because we felt at the time that we could get more if he stayed. He'd had a bad injury. I think he'd been out for 9 months or something, 6 months, and therefore we felt he owed us, which is embarrassing now I think back to it. But there was also some contact from Liverpool we didn't love. And at that time, probably a little bit more full of morals and like what he'd already met Klopp before he told us. But in the end, he did a very, very good job for us, and we sold him for a good price. But what it taught us, I think, was that pathway has to be there for our club. And by the end, we were getting players from Man City, from Chelsea, saying, I want to come to you and play for Ralph and be Tino Livramento and be those players and go to the next level. And I think Tottenham doesn't see itself as that club, and that's fine. It's a different club. But I think some of the players struggled to go there because they couldn't get out.
Okay. By the way, if you want to get a little bit more on Daniel Levy, the brand new refurbished TalkSport daily podcast is available now. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy react to the huge breaking news from yesterday. Daniel Levy leaving his role as Tottenham chairman. That's the TalkSport daily podcast, available first thing every morning on the TalkSport app, as well as the usual podcast platforms. Can we keep you for a little bit longer? Is that all right?
No problem.
Good. Martin Semmens is sticking around because we've got lots more to ask him here on TalkSport.
Who doesn't love the Ryder Cup, the competition that ignites and unites the greats of golf like no other. 1927 brought us the very first edition at the Worcester Country Club in Massachusetts. For the first 22 editions, when it was just British and Irish golfers versus the US, America were only beaten 3 times. But in 1979, in came Europe, and in came Seve Ballesteros, who went on to win 5 of them. Since Team Europe became a thing, the head-to-head reads Europe 13, USA 9. Europe's last away win was the miracle at Medina in 2012. America hasn't won on European soil since 1993 at the Belfry. So what about the money? The most recent Ryder Cup in Rome drew in a record 271,000 spectators and boosted the Italian economy by €262 million. The PGA of America TV deal with NBC is worth $440 million, but 2025 will be the first time ever that the US team will receive a fee for playing. Of course, in Rome, legend has it Patrick Cantley refused to wear his cap because he wasn't being paid to wear it, though he insisted it simply didn't fit. Either way, Team Europe have made it clear they're more than happy to keep playing for the thrill, joy and prestige of the Ryder Cup.
Good afternoon. This is Sam Matterface with the two schoolboys. We're here till 1 o'clock this afternoon with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
You know you were giving away Oasis tickets. Can you get us England-Andorra tickets as well?
Why would you want to watch that this weekend?
Good point.
WSL.
It's live on talkSPORT tomorrow from 5 o'clock from Villa Park. And actually, do you know what? I was a little bit upset because I spoke to Gabriel Bonlahor earlier on, and he said he was invited to the game to get his legacy cap, and he's not going to get it this weekend because he's going on holiday. Which is a bit of a shame.
That's a shame.
That is a shame. Anyway, we've got Martin Semmens in the studio. We're talking about London City Lionesses. WSL is back tonight. And there's a lot of football on talkSPORT, and the WSL forms part of it this weekend. We'll talk a little bit about London City in just a second. But going back to your time at Southampton, one of the things that sort of started to creep in over the course of the last few years is multi-club ownership. Now, I know that you're part of a multi-club ownership now, in a sense, because Michelle also owns Lyon.
Yeah, Washington Spirit.
What do you make of the benefits of multi-club ownership and how it is permitted in certain areas of the game? Because it feels to me like you are allowed to do it, but you're not allowed to use the fruits of all the benefits.
Yeah, so let me start in the women's game, if that's okay, and Kaniska, Michelle's business. So the purpose of that, I think, is that for us to accelerate investment into the women's game, it's better to do it across more than one club. So the kind of people that we can hire, the kind of data systems we can buy, the kind of scouting we can have, even hiring me is easier because we've got a multitude of clubs, right? So I think we believe in the women's side, it's a good thing. We need to force investment into the game as quickly as we can from as many people as we can. And multi-club ownership allows us, very simply, like the many women's clubs cannot invest in the things they need unless they own more than one. I think the question on the men's side is a bit more complex than that. I think primarily they were either set up for youth pathways. So the one that I have been involved in the last 2 years is about developing players in different countries to come through the system to get to the highest level to play in Serie A and then be sold onto the Premier League. So it's a financial model, but it allows some sustainability in smaller clubs. Or they're set up for tools, data systems, scouting systems, stuff like that. So I think if it's those things and they're done in the right way, I'm very supportive of it. But I think what they're more worried about is, very, very wealthy individuals or businesses owning, a lot of big clubs at the same time, which is more risky.
Are there fewer PSR and FFP restrictions in the women's game than we're seeing in the men's at the moment?
Well, at the moment, yes, but I think they're coming. But again, from a women's point of view, you have to balance off the investment. So We don't want to, and I'm sure the men's game doesn't want to, limit investment into the sport. And therefore, I think we have to be incredibly careful what we restrict. The purpose of sustainability rules is to stop people investing when they can't invest in the future. So it came from, in my opinion, Alex buys the team. Alex decides to spend all his money on year one, and then year two can't afford it. I think the rules have gone a bit awry now, and that's not what it's about. But in the women's game for
Do you
now,
think they've gone too far in the men's game?
I think so, from what I can see. Again, I've been in Europe the last 2 years, so we have slightly different rules, but I think so, because I think it's stopping people investing to improve the sport, to improve the things that matter. On the women's side, I am sure that any investment in training centres or anything to do with facilities and medicines, people would be fine. But you've got to keep a grip on the salaries of the players and make sure they grow in a good way.
Just on that, you were saying there, you need multi-club ownership at this point. Does it get to a level where that has to stop, though, in the women's game? Hopefully, 10 years from now, is there a point where you have to sell other clubs then to allow for more investment to come in?
I think we're a long way away from that.
Yeah.
I think there could be a moment.
Yeah.
I think the primary issue is if Lyon is in our group, is top 4 team in Europe, we hope to get to that level. How do you deal with that when that moment comes? That's the issue. But there's enough space in the women's game for investors. So if Troy Deeney wants to buy a women's club and invest his hard Watford money in that team, we can find you teams. Like, there's hundreds.
I didn't play for Southampton. We couldn't buy too much.
Couldn't buy too
much.
But we need more investment in the women's game. Yeah. So we're nowhere near that point. But the rules need to, make sure the clubs are sustainable and growing at the same time as allowing investment in.
How do you see the women's game growing quicker from what can we do in the media to make it grow quicker? Is it solely on the players, the individual players, your Chloe Kellys and people like that, or is it more that we can do in media to get behind it?
Yeah, I'm going to get these numbers wrong because I haven't written them down, but 46% of all sport participation is with women, I think, and only 16% of total media coverage is of the women's game. So for me to grow the game, there's sort of 2 or 3 things we've got to do. We've got to get people playing, and London City can play a role in that, and everybody in the game can play a role in that. We've got to get people watching games live through the media, through Sky, and then we've also got to kind of increase the noise and the talking about the game. So, joking aside, this is a big time for the WSL with the first game, and Daniel Levy has now killed the media across everything, and we're not getting enough coverage. So I think creating that balance and making sure people love the game. But to your specific question around the players, I think the players have a huge part to play in it because they are iconic. And I come from a certain age group, which I'm sure is very evident, and some of my friends don't necessarily understand the women's game like they should. And what I say to them is you've got to stop comparing one to the other. You don't have to love women's football and now therefore don't like men's football. There's room for everything, and you've got to enjoy it for what it is and enjoy it for, and let's take Keely Hodgkinson, for example. I'm sure we all enjoyed that in the summer. Every human I know from every age enjoyed that. So there's no reason why you can't enjoy Chloe Kelly scoring that goal and still be a fan of Newcastle, whatever it might be.
Absolutely. And the other thing that you mentioned there was about getting eyeballs on it and making sure people can watch it. Attendances are really important, making sure that the environment is right. Well, I've done several women's tournaments, European Championships and World Cups now. One of the issues that I had when we were down in Brighton a couple of years ago, in fact, not just Brighton, Sheffield United, wherever we went with England during 2022, is that you had a basically 70% female audience, but the facilities weren't there really for female attendees. So the idea of having specific stadiums for the women's game, I think sometimes people think, well, that's not a great idea. We want them to play at Stamford Bridge or at the Emirates. But you've got to be able to have a environment which is comfortable for the people that are coming to watch it.
Correct. So in my club now, we believe we should build our own stadium specific for women's football. Other things can be played there, but it'll be our stadium. I think the other part that you see when I was in Parma with the women's team there, they chose not to play in our main stadium because they liked the stadium they were in and they believed it was their environment with their fans. They chose to stay in their training centre and not integrate into the new one we were building. So what you've got to understand is it's a different fan base. So the correlation between Man United fans, men and women, isn't as close as you think. It's a different fan base with different asks. When you come and see a women's game, the players stay after the game and sign autographs, interact. It's different.
It's an amazing experience, actually. And when I remember, this is probably 10 years ago, when I first went to do the Lionesses, the Lionesses would come out after a game when they were doing much smaller stadiums, and they'd walk around the perimeter of the pitch and they'd sign all the autographs, and they'd be there accessible to everyone. It's slightly different now, obviously, because they've gone up in stature, but that still happens at WSL games.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, I say it doesn't make that better than the men's game. It's different for a different audience of people that want to do it. And again, I have 3 daughters that are 18 plus, and they probably became a bit saturated with the game living with me over the 10 years. And then we spent the summer watching the Lionesses, and I've never seen them so passionate about the sport and the players and what they knew. And so there is an audience there that wants it. It's not for everybody, but we think it will grow year on year at an unbelievable rate, I think.
And the free to air stuff, which is on YouTube, is important as well, isn't it? Because it's a younger audience and it's easy to get them engaged.
Yeah, and it's a step towards change where everything will be visible to different people in different parts of the world. Our game on Saturday, 1:30 is on BBC at Arsenal Stadium, which I believe will be sold out. It's on the BBC. Everyone can watch it, from my mum to my daughter who's in Australia is going to be able to watch it. So that's really important. And my belief is if you get more people to watch these games, they will stay.
Of course.
There's nobody watching those Euros games that's not now interested in the game, I think.
You mentioned earlier during your hiatus from English football, you were doing a bit of work with Parma. Obviously, one of their players, Leone, has gone to Liverpool this summer. I know you're a massive fan of him. Does he have the capability eventually to be the heir to the Van Dijk throne there?
Yeah, absolutely for me. So we signed him, I guess, the second year I was there in the summer. And I have a deep love for the likes of, Tino Livramento and signing these young players, Romeo Lavia. This was the same kind of deal, I think. He was clearly the best young centre-back in Italy, if not Europe. And again, we sold him the vision to come to our club to play Serie A at 18. I think he was 17 when he started playing. And then when the right moment comes, you will go. I mean, I think our understanding, same with the keeper we bought, Suzuki, the Japanese keeper, very young. Man United tried to buy him. I think that's a rumour I can semi-confirm. But I think the view is they would probably stay there longer than 1 year. But Leone is such a level. And again, I think it highlights Liverpool's ability that they spotted that. Yeah. There were other clubs in the Premier League that asked me about him, not as an executive of Parma because I'd left by then, and I told them what I thought, and they didn't follow through on it. And Liverpool never called me.
Was that Richard Hughes, do you think, with his Italian connection?
I don't know why, but what I'm telling you is that 5 or 6 Premier League teams asked me. I told them he's as good as Virgil. Liverpool never called me, never asked for a reference because they've got such an ability to find those players. Top player, and I think I said to you last time we met that he took Lukaku out of the game. We went to Napoli needing to get a point. And he marked him out of the game. I've never seen anything like it. Just literally knocked him over. And I spent my life losing to the likes of Troy and Lukaku, bullying our centre-backs, and Leone can do it. So I think he's a top player. I don't understand the pathway for him in terms of whether he'll play this year or not, but at some point, I think he's the long-term.
He'll play enough games this year to adapt and get used to living in Liverpool and the pressures, because it is a different pressure, isn't it? Right? Of course. But I think next year, Konate going, it's a seamless. Yeah. I could see Liverpool playing 3 at the back.
Yeah, and he only played 20 games for us, I think, or something like that, right? So we took him in and out of the team. But a very, very nice guy, top athlete, big guy, amazing reader of the game, I thought.
You sure Richard didn't just not speak to you because you're Southampton?
Probably, I don't know.
Just guessing. Martin, it's been great to have you here.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate you coming. Good luck over the weekend. The WSL is on talkSPORT this weekend. Chelsea, Manchester City, talkSPORT 2 tonight. Kevin Hatchard and Rebecca Smith bringing you live commentary this evening from 7:30. Not only have we got England Andorra over the weekend, but also Sunday, Liverpool against Everton. Cameron Pope and Jessica Clark are bringing you live commentary from 12 o'clock on talkSPORT 2 in the WSL this weekend. Martin Temmers, thank you very much. Good luck to the London City Lionesses at Arsenal. We'll speak to you soon when we come back. We'll just round up what's happening to Thomas Tuchel this weekend. He's been speaking to Faye Carruthers. We'll do that interview next. want the chance to win £25,000 in cash plus Oasis tickets, it's the very last show at Wembley, 27th September. Listen up, because we're giving you the opportunity, the chance to win our biggest competition yet. Not just the tickets, but 2 lucky winners will win a pair, and we're also going to give away £25,000 in cash for 1 lucky winner. Listen up right now, because you could be that person.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
I forgot what we're doing now.
Giving away Andorra tickets, won't we? Troy will have 10.
Oh, Aston Villa, no
Do you know
chance.
what?
No chance.
You know what? You're so negative.
Me?
Actually, I think it's no, but him really mainly.
You think what? It's going to be a great game?
I think it's going to be. I think we're going to learn something.
Are we?
We're going to learn.
Is
something.
that because you're working it and you have to say that?
No, I think we'll see Elliot Anderson for the first time. I'm looking forward to that for a start.
I think I'm going to learn they still show Neighbours on Channel 5.
Well, they don't. So you'll learn something that's factually incorrect, but not necessarily something you're alien to. Faye Carruthers has been speaking to Thomas Tuchel, and she started by asking him how England cover for John Stones' absence.
Is what it is. These things happen, and they will continue to happen. So if we just complain about it, it will not go away. It's just what it is. As soon as the players are here, then this group is my decision, and obviously then I'm very happy with the group, and from there we go, and just think in solutions and not about the players that are not in camp. It's just it does not work like this. It's absolutely not disrespectful and towards the players who are not here, but we can only affect the group that we have, and we are very happy with the behavior and the quality that the group shows, and we will have good solutions for tomorrow and Serbia.
Yeah, it's practical. That makes sense. And of course, you brought in Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who you know really well. And when he spoke to the media the other day, he talked about you using him in a variety of different positions. Where are you looking at fitting him in here?
Here he competes as a 6 and as a 8. 8 is maybe his best position, so there's at the moment no fear for him, no danger that he plays as a wing-back, but this can always come back. He is full of quality, and he has the quality to play several positions. Sometimes I feel with him that he is not aware how good he is, but it's always nice to have him around. He's a nice lad, good character, and trains on a very high level with us.
You've talked about this identity that you're trying to sharpen.
Yeah.
What is this identity, and have you seen it yet?
We're on it. I think this is the target and the goal for the next 3 camps, to clarify our identity, to clarify things in the different areas of the game. We're on it. We players need to understand. Players need to understand what we want from them. How do we build deep build-up for Team England? How do we break down a deep block? How do we attack in the last third of the pitch? And they need to understand how we do the high press, how we defend in a middle block and in a low block. So we need to come up with solutions and present it and train it, and then buy into it over the next 3 camps. This is what we're up to.
Yeah, you mentioned the middle block at the press conference last week. What I mean, obviously you're not going to give me the tactics away, but how have you tried to find that solution? What are you thinking?
We will free up the players a little bit, and we will give solutions to break down a 5-4-1. Everyone struggles to break down a 5-4-1. It's just it's just a reality in modern day football. Low block with 5-4-1 is the most difficult to break down, to find spaces in between, to find spaces behind. But we want to give the players help and patterns that they can hang on to, and hopefully speed up the game a bit better and reach the box a bit more often than we did in Barcelona against Andorra, because we will face the same deep block in Serbia again. this is what it is. It's a difficult task, but it's a nice one, and we're on it. So we're shaping our style of play. We're giving the players clarity where they compete, what we demand from them, and hopefully after things are clear, it comes intensity, accuracy. These are the two things that follow.
Obviously, we've heard a lot from Thomas Tuchel since he's been the England manager, and one of the things he keeps talking about is intensity and playing with that sort of need to entertain and wanting to open up teams, especially ones that are low block. It is a facet of international football that if you are a very good nation, you are going to come up against teams that don't want you to play. They're going to do their very best to stop you. But when that happens all the time, let's just put it in context. England are on the longest run of unbeaten qualifiers in Europe, right? Okay, so they're one of the best teams in Europe at qualifying for major tournaments, right? Yep. But it means that a lot of the games become very sterile because it's all of your attackers against all of their defenders, and it's just low block after low block after low block. How do you manage to break that down, entertain, and keep people on side? Or does it matter?
Ultimately, it doesn't matter as long as you win. I think the problem you've got is that it's going to come against a 5-4-1. You're getting players to be engaged and passable with a tempo, but it's hard as a player when you've got nothing but time. And it does get a little bit boring as a player going from left to right to left continuously. But if England score one against Andorra in the first 5 minutes,
that's what you need, an early goal.
But if that happens, Andorra go more defensive. They don't go, right, let's try and get back in and win this game. So it actually gets harder the more goals England score because they're trying not to get embarrassed at their home nation being back home. Do you get my point? Yeah. So it's never an easy one for England. I think we win. I think we win comfortably. But to entertain against the team, it's like a good boxing match. You need two people that are going at each other. And unfortunately, a lot of the teams we play, as you said, aren't going to want to do that.
In some ways, I think it being at Villa Park might help because I've been at Wembley for a couple of games recently and the fans get bored. They start chucking paper aeroplanes on the pitch. It just might be a bit more of an intense atmosphere at Villa Park than it would be.
I doubt it's at Villa Park. We'll get what you mean.
Well, there's some good young Aston Villa players in the squad that those local Birmingham people might get behind.
Nah, it's another place to go across the city called Birmingham City. Anyway, go on.
That's it from us this week. We'll be back next week, hopefully.
I'm off next week.
Oh, what a shame.
Playing golf.
Mate.
Seriously, this is the professionalism that I have to deal with on a week-to-week basis. But not next week because we've got Martin Keown with us.
Oh, that'll be a snore fest.
H&J next.